Chapter 22. Cough, cough, because, Jiang Tian leaned over to Zhao Xueqing's ear and whispered something. Aya, hubby, you're so naughty. How could you say something like that to me? Zhao Xueqing blushed and waved her fist coquettishly. She lowered Jiang Tian's arm and said, give me another one. The meal was filled with chatter and laughter. It was a heartwarming meal. Jiang Tian could feel that Zhao Xueqing's wariness and fear towards him were slowly fading. Everything was going in a good direction. After the meal, Jiang Tian poured out a pill from the porcelain bottle and smiled. Xueqing, I've refined a small revitalizing pill for you. It has the effect of consolidating your foundation and strengthening your body. Hurry up and eat it. Oh, I know. I'll eat it before I sleep. Zhao Xueqing took it and smiled. She didn't believe that Jiang Tian could refine any miraculous pills. She only thought that Jiang Tian was fooling around. She was afraid that she would have diarrhea after eating it. But there was no need to expose Jiang Tian. It was fine as long as he was safe. Back in the bedroom, Zhao Xueqing put the small revitalizing pill into a small medicine bottle. She sat in front of the desk and began to work. I can see Elder Tang today. The next morning, Jiang Tian used Zhao Xueqing's phone to call Tang Linglong. Elder Tang wanted to see him time and time again. It would be unreasonable if he didn't give him face. Okay, I'll go pick you up now. Tang Linglong didn't delay. She immediately drove to the Times mansion to pick up Jiang Tian. The car stopped in front of Crouching Dragon Villa. Jiang Tian looked at the luxurious manor and chuckled. Elder Tang really knows how to enjoy life. Tang Linglong quickly explained, Mr. Jiang, please don't misunderstand. This is not my grandfather's business, but my third uncle's. She said hesitantly, originally, my grandfather didn't want to live here, but he couldn't stand his incessant begging. Oh, I see. Jiang Tian nodded slightly and walked into the villa. Jiang Tian had also heard of the Tang family's background. Elder Tang had a total of 3 sons. The eldest son was in the military and held a position in the Lingnan military region. His background was very mysterious and he was the mainstay of the second generation of the Tang family. The second son, Tang Weimin, was the secretary of the Lin Zhou Municipal Party Committee. His political achievements were brilliant, and he had won the hearts of the people. His future was bright, and many people guessed that he could go further. The third son of the Tang family, Tang Wanyan, was the most useless one. He couldn't stand the shackles of the army and didn't want to work hard in the officialdom, so he used the name of Elder Tang to swindle people in the business world. Although Elder Tang didn't like him and blamed him a lot and even wanted to cut ties with him, his son had grown up and had no choice. Relying on the care of Elder Tang's old comrades, Tang Wanyan's business was doing very well. He had accumulated quite a lot of property and had a net worth of billions. This grand Crouching Dragon Villa was Tang Wanyan's property. The manor was very beautiful. The rockery and strange rocks were arranged in a picturesque manner. There was a lake with lotus leaves swaying in the wind. There were 9 winding corridors and pavilions dotted among them. The trees were so big that one person could wrap their arms around them. This is strange. However, the more Jiang Tian looked, the more he frowned. A trace of seriousness appeared on his face. Mr. Jiang, benefactor, you're finally here. From afar, Elder Tang, Xiao Wei, and a middle-aged man came to greet him. They bowed deeply with deep respect on their faces. However, the middle-aged man behind him had a frivolous look on his face. He chewed on his cigarette frivolously without the slightest hint of gratitude. Elder Tang, how have you been these days? Jiang Tian held him up and politely saluted him. Cough, cough, Elder Tang coughed violently a few times and smiled. I still feel chills occasionally, but I'm much better now. Jiang Tian nodded slightly and activated his heavenly eye technique. He scanned Elder Tang's body and his face turned slightly cold. Thank you for saving this old man's life. Elder Tang held Jiang Tian's hand and walked towards a hall. He was full of joy. Elder Tang, you're welcome. It's nothing. Jiang Tian quickly interrupted and walked into the hall with Elder Tang. After they were seated, the servants served tea. Elder Tang and Jiang Tian drank a few mouthfuls of tea and exchanged a few pleasantries. Elder Tang said, Mr. Jiang, you're a martial arts grandmaster at such a young age. Your medical skills are amazing, and you're also proficient in the art of sorcery. This old man is truly impressed. Martial arts grandmaster and sorcery expert. Elder Tang, you think too highly of me. I'm really not. Jiang Tian shook his head gently. Ha, Mr. Jiang, you're too polite. Elder Tang only thought that Jiang Tian was being modest and laughed. Elder Tang, what's going on with martial arts and sorcery? Please enlighten me. Jiang Tian frowned. Mr. Jiang, I really don't know. Elder Tang was stunned. Seeing that Jiang Tian did not seem to be lying, he thought that Jiang Tian should have a unique cultivation system that was different from martial arts and sorcery. Therefore, he began to talk about it. Although Elder Tang was not a martial arts or sorcery expert, he was still involved in martial arts and the military, so he knew a lot of information. According to him, ancient martial arts and sorcery rose in the pre-Qin period and had a long history. Ancient martial arts were derived from Taoism and were eventually simplified and condensed by martial artists into killing techniques. In this process, it was divided into two branches, which focused on strengthening one's ancient martial arts and sorcery that focused on using external objects. Ancient martial arts were divided into 4 stages: iron body, internal force, transcendent, and divine realm. As the saying went, the poor studied while the rich studied martial arts. A martial artist's cultivation required the nourishment of heavenly and earthly treasures, which also meant that they needed a lot of worldly wealth. Therefore, there were many powerful martial artists hidden in the mortal world. Sorcery was even more mysterious and was rarely seen in the mortal world. Most of them lived in seclusion in the mountains and ponds, absorbing the spiritual energy of heaven and earth and comprehending the supreme Tao. They were generally divided into 4 stages: perception, Tao initiation, mystic enlightening, and Tao body. Most of the martial arts in the mortal world were simplified versions of ancient martial arts. Usually, one would be unable to advance after reaching the iron body stage. For example, Tan Tui, Eagle Claw, Ba Ji, and Wing Chun were all in this category. In the 4 stages of martial arts, each stage was divided into 4 stages: minor success, major success, perfection, and pinnacle. There were very few who could reach internal force. Elder Tang had cultivated for his entire life, but he had only reached the perfection iron body stage and had not reached internal force. In the entire Lingnan province, there were only a few people who had reached that stage. So that's how it is. Jiang Tian nodded his head in satisfaction. He also had a hint of understanding in his heart. In his previous life, the 3 major families of Jinlin City were no match for the Jiang family in terms of political and business resources. However, the sudden rise of the 3 major families and their joint attack on the Jiang family meant that there was a martial artist behind them. After the introduction, Elder Tang pointed at the middle-aged man and said, "This is my useless second son, Tang Wanyan. You can call him Little Nian. This small manor is also his property. If Mr. Jiang has any friends that you would like to entertain, feel free to look for him." "Dad, so this is the Master Kong you were talking about? He is just a kid. I don't see anything special about him." Tang Wanyan puffed on the cigarette in his mouth as he shook his head and said. Tang Wanyan was dressed in branded clothes and was armed to the teeth. However, his eyes were swollen and his footsteps were weak. It was obvious that his body had been hollowed out by alcohol and women. Jiang Tian shook his head. No wonder Xiao Wei and Tang Linglong hesitated when they talked about him. He was nothing compared to Elder Tang. Even though Elder Tang's body had been invaded by ghost qi and he had been bedridden for many years, he was still very stern. As expected of someone who had been on the battlefield for decades. "How dare you!" Elder Tang was so angry that his face turned red. He slammed the table and scolded, Mr. Jiang is my guest. How dare you? He quickly stood up and bowed to Jiang Tian. He said nervously, Mr. Jiang, please forgive my son. This old man did not teach him well. Don't worry about it. Jiang Tian waved his hand casually. Who would have thought that at this moment, Tang Wanyan's untimely voice rang out again. Dad, what's so great about him? You are still coughing and feeling cold. What exorcism and ghost exorcism? I think it's just a sham. Bastard. Get out. Get out of here. Elder Tang pointed at the door angrily and roared. This youngest son of his was fond of taking unconventional paths and making countless enemies. This made him worry the most, so old Tang hoped that he could introduce Jiang Tian to him. That way, Tang Wanyan would have a strong backer who could at least protect his life. However, he did not expect Tang Wanyan to be such a loser. Even though he had repeatedly told him to be respectful to Jiang Tian, he still offended Jiang Tian again and again. Okay. You guys talk. I will go to the kitchen and prepare some food for you. Tang Wanyan stood up and looked coldly at Jiang Tian. Third master, please wait. Unexpectedly, Jiang Tian spoke up to persuade him to stay. Third master is right. I did not completely cure Elder Tang. Right? I told you he is a liar. Tang Wanyan's interest was piqued again. He sat down leisurely, crossed his legs, and sneered. Elder Tang was also confused. He frowned. Mr. Jiang, I feel much better. Why do you say that? Jiang Tian took a sip of tea and said, the spirit in your body has been removed. However, there is still a ferocious spirit in Crouching Dragon Villa. This ferocious spirit's yin qi is very strong and its cultivation is very high. It has already become a ghost king. The spirit was just being controlled by it. Because Elder Tang is old and weak, it took advantage of the situation. It is true that I have removed the spirit. However, I did not remove the ghost king. That is the same as not removing the firewood from under the cauldron. Of course, it cannot be considered a complete cure. Elder Tang, have you been experiencing the symptoms of alternating between cold and heat? Nonsense. Before Elder Tang could speak, Tang Wanyan said disdainfully. Ghosts and gods are completely fabricated. How much do you want to swindle from the Tang family? Do you believe that I will call the police to arrest you and sentence you to 8 to 10 years? Elder Tang, you and I are fated to meet. Moreover, Ling Long has helped me before. I am willing to kill the Ghost King for you. Jiang Tian was too lazy to pay attention to him. He said indifferently, however, this matter started because of Tang Wanyan. He has done something wrong. I want him to donate 100 million as charity. Otherwise, I will not help him. What did he do? Elder Tang's face turned solemn as he frowned and asked. Jiang Tian hesitated for a moment, but before he could speak, Tang Wanyan stood up and waved his arms. He said furiously, Dad, don't believe him. What bullshit, master. He was just spouting nonsense and swindling people. Jiang Tian, get the hell out of here. Wanyan, are you trying to piss me off? What the hell are you talking about? Third uncle, Master Kong is our VIP. How can you be so disrespectful? Elder Tang was furious. Tang Linglong kept trying to dissuade him. Xiao Wei also shook his head and sighed. Dad, who does this kid think he is? He is not even fully grown yet. How can he pretend to be an extraordinary person? Tang Wanyan did not listen to him. Chapter 23. Tang Wanyan said angrily, he beat up Li Pengtao and asked me to give him $1 million a year's salary before you were cured. Li Pengtao was basically a cripple right now, okay? He will need at least 20 million when he retires. This time, he asked me to donate 100 million. He is robbing me. Tang Wanyan pointed at the door and said arrogantly, Jiang Tian, I have made myself clear. Get out of here. Hearing this, a cold light flashed in Jiang Tian's eyes. There was also some anger. He stood up and said, I did ask the Tang family to help me, which is equivalent to asking you to spend 10 million. But what I want to give to the Tang family is not something that can be bought with 10 million. What are you going to give to the Tang family? Is it worth 10 million? Tang Wanyan was taken aback. He then laughed disdainfully. Jiang Tian ignored him and stood with his hands behind his back. Ha, Elder Tang and I are kindred spirits. I wanted to give the Tang family an opportunity to help you get out of this predicament. But you don't know how to cherish it. So be it. Master Kong, please don't be angry. It's all my fault. I didn't teach them well. Please don't go. Elder Tang stood up shakily and pulled Jiang Tian's sleeve, begging. Elder Tang, this is a body tempering cultivation technique. Consider it as me, Jiang Tian, repaying the Tang clan for their help. Jiang Tian threw down a handwritten scroll on the tea table and said calmly, I'm sorry. But from now on, the Tang family and I don't owe each other anything. Tang Wanyan, don't blame me for being rude if you keep talking nonsense. TCH, Tang Wanyan wanted to retort, but Elder Tang hit him with his walking stick. He could only keep his mouth shut. In a month, the Crouching Dragon Villa will be filled with ghosts and murders. If you don't want to cause trouble, close the door as soon as possible. After saying that, Jiang Tian flung his sleeves and quickly walked out of the Crouching Dragon Villa. With the help of Tang Linglong, Elder Tang quickly chased after Jiang Tian, but Jiang Tian had already disappeared. Back in the hall, Elder Tang was so angry that his whole body was trembling. He pointed at Tang Wanyan and said, Tang Wanyan, you bastard. You have eyes but can't see. You can't see the real person's face. You want to destroy the Tang family. At this time, Jiang Tian and Tang Wanyan were like fire and water. His painstaking efforts to rope him in had been completely wasted, and he had suffered a double loss. Dad, you're really muddle-headed. He's so young. What kind of ability can he have? You've been fooled by him. Tang Wanyan picked up the scroll left behind by Jiang Tian and was about to tear it into pieces. What kind of rubbish is this? What do you want? However, Elder Tang snatched it over and unfolded it to take a look. There were a few large words written on the title page, Overwhelming Body Tempering Technique. Elder Tang carefully flipped through it, but his body suddenly trembled. His face was filled with shock, and he clapped his hands in admiration. This cultivation technique is many times more mystical than our Tang family's cultivation technique. It's even more powerful than the average ancient martial arts. Tang Linglong's cultivation technique belonged to the category of traditional Chinese martial arts. However, Elder Tang was a master of the Southern School of Chinese martial arts. He had combined Wing Chun, Hong Quan, and Kai Li Buddhist fist into one. However, the cultivation technique that Jiang Tian gave him was derived from the cultivation technique of the Iron Fist sect of the cultivation world and had been modified. The Iron Fist sect might not be the best in the cultivation world, but when it came to the body tempering technique, it was unique and unique. It was many times more powerful than the average ancient martial arts. Grandpa, is it really that powerful? Tang Linglong asked curiously. Tang Wanyan curled his lips in disdain. This set of cultivation techniques can help you reach the iron body level and even generate internal force. You can crush a transcendent master. Elder Tang said solemnly. Then I'll hurry up and practice. Tang Linglong said excitedly. Elder Tang sighed and said with regret and helplessness, unfortunately, your third uncle is an unfilial son. He actually had eyes but failed to see and repeatedly humiliated Grandmaster Jiang, causing him to leave in a huff. Otherwise, with such a figure as the grand guest of our Tang clan, the Tang clan would definitely be able to stand tall for 100 years without falling. On Monday, Zhao Xueqing was summoned to the chairwoman, Wei Fang, as soon as she arrived at work. Although Wei Fang was a middle-aged woman, one could tell from the corner of her eyes that she must have been a great beauty when she was young. She had taken good care of herself and was dressed fashionably. She wore a black Prada suit and black high heels. Her hair was tied up in a high ponytail. She looked like a smart and capable woman. Wei Fang used to be a host at Lin Zhou TV station. 10 years ago, she went into business. In 10 short years, she had turned a small pharmacy into a large pharmaceutical company. Auntie, Zhao Xueqing said weakly. Although she had a good relationship with Zhao Qianru, Zhao Xueqing had always been a little afraid of her strong-handed stepmother. I heard that Jiang Tian beat up Li Pengtao. That's too ruthless. Wei Fang said with a frown. Auntie, you can't blame Jiang Tian for this. Zhao Xueqing hesitated. Li Pengtao was the one who molested me first. Jiang Tian happened to see it, so he beat him up. Even if Li Pengtao is dishonest, there are still laws. Your father and I will stand up for you. Wei Fang took a sip of the fragrant Blue Mountain coffee and said with disgust, but what's wrong with him beating someone up like that? Is this something a normal person would do? Is Manager Li going to pursue Jiang Tian's legal responsibility? Zhao Xueqing's heart skipped a beat as she was secretly worried. Not really. President Li is still very magnanimous. However, he has resigned and no longer works in our company. Wei Fang's tone was light, but she was also very suspicious. She couldn't understand why Li Pengtao and his wife let Jiang Tian off so easily. Was it because they were afraid of embarrassing themselves? Oh. Zhao Xueqing let out a long sigh. Her hanging heart finally fell to the ground. However, Qing'er, do you really plan to continue living with Jiang Tian like this? This person is ignorant and incompetent, and he is also willful. The key is that he even abused his family. This is a real scumbag. Wei Fang was like a loving mother as she gently advised, you are a flower of Lin Zhou. You have both talent and beauty. There are so many outstanding young men who admire you and pursue you. Why do you want to hang yourself on a crooked tree? Auntie. Zhao Xueqing screamed and interrupted Wei Fang's words. Her face was red as she lowered her head and said, Auntie, I know you are saying this for my own good. But no matter how big a mistake a person makes, as long as he is willing to start over, shouldn't we give him a chance? Jiang Tian, he seems to be showing signs of improvement. You are just too kind and innocent. For a woman, marriage is no less than a second birth. Wei Fang shook her head and sighed, his brain is permanently damaged. How can it be cured? How can it get better? He was so crazy and beat people until they were crippled. If Old Li pursued the matter, he would already be in the police station. After all, he did it to protect me. Zhao Xueqing said. Sigh, back then, I was just like you. I also insisted on marrying your father for love. Your father even brought you along. Wei Fang's eyes flashed with gentleness as if she was thinking of the distant past. She sighed softly, back then, my family was very pessimistic about the future of your father and I. That's why I worked so hard to prove myself to my family. But in the end, it was just a mere 100 million in assets. My family still doesn't think highly of your father. She smiled bitterly and said, Xueqing, let me remind you. Sometimes, choice is more important than hard work. You must choose the right person. Auntie, I understand. Zhao Xueqing nodded, but she didn't seem to have any intention of changing her mind. Wei Fang knew that her persuasion didn't work, but she wasn't in a hurry. She smiled and said, right, tomorrow night, Lu Wangfeng from the Lu family wants to talk to me about cooperation, but I'm too busy. You go in my place. Ah. Auntie, can you find someone else? Zhao Xueqing was in a difficult position. Lu Wangfeng was one of the top young masters in Lin Zhou City. His status was only second to Tang Jianfeng from the Tang family, Long Gatian from the Long family, and a few other top young masters. The Lu family's Ren AI Medical Materials Trading Group was one of the top 10 in the country. Its assets were worth billions. Lu Wangfeng had pursued her many times, but she didn't like his personality and rejected him politely. Xueqing, the development of the muscle-nourishing cream that you're in charge of has been stagnant. The board of directors has long wanted to remove you from your position. Jiang Tian beat someone up, so you should be fired. If you don't make any achievements, how can I protect you? Wei Fang crossed her arms and said with a frown. Okay, I'll go. Zhao Xueqing's body trembled. She had no choice but to agree. She felt bitter in her heart. She didn't have any savings. If she and Jiang Tian were to lose their jobs, they would have to go hungry. That afternoon, Jiang Tian received a call from his university classmate, Yuan. They were going to have a class reunion at the Imperial Club. It seems that I'm fated with the Imperial Club. Jiang Tian thought to himself. He picked up the phone and told Zhao Xueqing about it before leaving the office in a hurry. Jiang Tian had spent all the money he got from Zhao Xueqing over the weekend. He could only walk there. His classmates had already arrived at a private room. Jiang Tian arrived a little late. The 9-5 VIP private room was very luxurious and expensive. The private room alone cost 50,000 yuan. In 2007, it was equivalent to half a year's salary for an ordinary white-collar worker. Ho Tianlai, the organizer of the reunion, was sitting in the middle, bragging to his classmates about his entrepreneurial history. Yuan was playing with the diamond ring on her finger. She looked very proud. It's not easy these years, Ho Tianlai heaved a long sigh. But he couldn't hide the pride in his eyes. President Ho, you should be content. That's right. You have a mansion, a nice car, a beautiful girlfriend. You have everything. We are so jealous. His classmates were flattering him. Lu Yiting and a few female classmates were chatting in a corner. Oh, look who's here. It's our Master Jiang. Ho Tianlai saw Jiang Tian come in and said in a sarcastic tone. Everyone looked at him. He was wearing a shabby shirt of poor quality, black trousers, and dirty old leather shoes. At first glance, he looked like a migrant worker. Jiang Tian. It's really Jiang Tian. Oh my God, Master Jiang used to be a big shot. How did he end up like this? Many people were sighing in admiration, and some of them were mocking him. Jiang Tian used to be a big shot at the University of Jin City. Most of his old classmates were unhappy with him. Now that he was down, they naturally hit him when he was down. Lu Yiting also looked at Jiang Tian, dumbfounded. That young man, he was here. But he didn't have the heroic spirit that he used to have. Instead, he was gloomy. What had he gone through in the past few years? Why did he look so calm? Chapter 24. Jiang Tian walked over slowly and said with a smile, Sorry, I didn't take a taxi, so I'm a bit late. You're not late at all. Ho Tianlai seemed to be very enthusiastic as he pulled Jiang Tian to sit down. He said in surprise, You walked here. Jiang Tian nodded silently and looked at the pairs of eyes. Surprise, ridicule, sarcasm, disdain, Jiang Tian was amused. These people thought that they could dominate everything with money, but they didn't know that with his ability, he would be invincible in the future. However, after his rebirth, he wanted to reach the top of the universe to restore glory and protect his family and friends. What did these mocking eyes have to do with him? TSK, Jiang Tian, you used to be a rich young master who drove a BMW. Why are you so pitiful now? You don't even have a car. Ho Tianlai looked up and down at Jiang Tian and mocked, Look at you. Even my gardener doesn't know how to wear this. I can only give it to a dog, ha. Ha, Boss Ho has a sense of humor. Many students laughed along with Ho Tianlai. Jiang Tian didn't say anything. After thousands of years of cultivation, he had seen too many ugly faces. He had already reached the state of mind. Maybe they had been servile in front of him for too long. Now that he was down and out, They wanted to pay him back 100 times over. That's enough, you guys. Lu Yiting stood up and slammed the table angrily. Ho Tianlai's eyes flashed coldly and said, Lu Yiting, how are we going too far? We're just telling the truth. Lu Yiting glared at Ho Tianlai and said coldly, no matter what, Jiang Tian is our classmate. What right do you have to humiliate him like this? Okay, I know you're a sharp-tongued person. I won't argue with you. Ho Tianlai changed the topic and said with a smile, let's start eating and drinking. Waiter, a bottle of Mouton red wine. This bottle of wine alone costs at least 100,000 yuan. A knowledgeable boy commented. Wow, it's so expensive. It's burning money. Director Ho is so forthright. The girls applauded one after another, their faces full of admiration and envy. Order whatever you want to eat or play. Ho Tianlai was full of vigor as he said proudly, let's eat first. After we're done, we'll continue to play upstairs. We're not going home until we're drunk. Pulling Jiang Tian to a corner, Lu Yiting smiled. Don't lower yourself to his level. He's so rich that he doesn't know who he is anymore. I'm fine. Jiang Tian smiled faintly. I'm only here to see this old classmate of yours. Where are you working now? Lu Yiting's pretty face was slightly red. Back then, she had also liked Jiang Tian. However, due to a freak combination of factors, the two of them had missed each other. I'm in public relations at Zhao Pharmaceutical Company. What about you? My husband and I opened a beauty salon, but we don't have any core products. We can't make ends meet, and we're having a hard time. Lu Yiting sighed. You're having a hard time running your business. Jiang Tian's heart tightened. When he had borrowed money from her in his previous life, she had not hesitated at all. It seemed that she was already short on funds, and the few million that he had borrowed was the last straw that broke the camel's back. Thinking of this, Jiang Tian's heart was moved. He said firmly, thank you for helping me back then. Now that I'm back, I'll definitely repay you. I'll give you a chance. If Lu Yiting liked it, he could promise her a lifetime of wealth and safety. If she wanted, he could even give her a divine root of wisdom to help her on the path to immortality. Repay you? What are you joking about? Lu Yiting did not know whether to laugh or cry. Just because you cheated, I once pleaded for you in front of the director. It's all in the past. Sigh, how would you know that you helped me in my previous life? Jiang Tian shook his head and sighed softly in his heart. He picked up a piece of paper on the table and wrote down a prescription. He handed it to Lu Yiting and said, this is a prescription called Beauty Cream. Brew it according to the ratio and use it to moisturize the face of your customers. It has miraculous effects. You're playing tricks on me again. Lu Yiting smiled and rolled her beautiful eyes at Jiang Tian. In university, Jiang Tian considered himself a divine doctor. However, he did not have any medical skills. One of his classmates had a stomachache, and he gave him a prescription. He said that if his eyes were healed, he would not mistake food for food next time. Another time, a classmate had appendicitis, and he gave him a laxative, which caused his classmate to almost become dehydrated. When his classmate came to him, he said that he would be fine as long as he excreted the dirty things in his stomach. However, seeing the sincerity in Jiang Tian's eyes, Lu Yiting still took the prescription and put it in her pocket. At this time, the dishes were already being served. The students chatted as they ate. After graduating for a few years, the students had different life paths. However, in general, they were all ordinary and ordinary. Zhao Dan worshipped money the most in university. She would not marry anyone who was not from a rich family. She was married now, but her husband was not from a rich family. He was just an ordinary civil servant. In Zhao Dan's words, she was blind to marry him. However, her face was full of smiles. How could she not be happy? Zhengli was in love with the talented and good-looking senior in university who was the president of the student council. However, They had broken up and Lin Zhou was working alone. At the mention of that senior, Zhengli was furious. Who would have thought that the senior who had countless suitors in school was actually a scumbag? He ate, drank, and gambled. However, Zhengli turned her grief into strength. Her career was quite successful. She was the head of the HR department in Guangxia Group and had reached the middle level. Her income was not bad. However, among the students, Ho Tianlai was doing the best. He was backed by Zhou Zhenghao, the #1 big brother in the West District. He monopolized the earthwork, sand, and cement business in the entire West District. He had dozens of brothers in the company, and his assets reached tens of millions. He bought a garden house and drove an Audi TT. Brother Hao, how awesome is that? Behind him is Lord Dragon V, the underground emperor of Lin Zhou. He can even talk to the mayor. Ho Tianlai's face was full of glory when Zhou Zhenghao was mentioned. Is that true? Brother Hao, you know him too? Everyone present exclaimed in disbelief. Of course it's true. I've drunk with Brother Hao several times. Ho Tianlai put an exquisite gift box on the table and said excitedly, this is 100-year-old ginseng. Brother Hao said that he's going to meet a big shot soon. He also asked me to help him search for some exotic herbs. Brother Hao will come to get the herbs later. I'll introduce him to you. Damn, to be able to drink and chat with Brother Hao, President Ho, your current level is extraordinary. Everyone was envious. Even Lu Yiting was slightly moved. She said, doesn't Brother Hao have a finance company? Can I borrow some money? He's engaged in private lending. I'll help you talk to him later. There's a discount on the interest rate. Ho Tianlai said. Suddenly, he looked at Jiang Tian who had been eating silently and said, Jiang Tian, you don't have a chance to meet such a big shot like Brother Hao, do you? Who does he think he is? Does he deserve to be my acquaintance? Jiang Tian picked up a mouthful of stir-fried lotus root, chewed slowly and said indifferently. Damn it, Jiang Tian, don't pretend to be noble. Ho Tianlai suddenly became furious. He stood up and pointed at Jiang Tian and sneered, you're not the young master of the Jiang family a few years ago. You think we don't know your background? You were broken off the engagement and expelled from the family. Let me tell you, you're even worse than a beggar now. How dare you disrespect Brother Hao? Believe it or not, I'll kill you. Forget it, President Ho. After all, we're classmates. Don't lower yourself to his level. That's right. If you take him seriously, you'll only lower your taste. Zhao Dan and several girls pretended to persuade him, but their words implied that they didn't take Jiang Tian seriously at all. Ha, Jiang Tian, you're too arrogant. You don't even take Brother Hao seriously. Do you know what he does and how much money he has? Really, you're still so naive after graduating for a few years. You don't know the immensity of heaven and earth. Yuan, Zhengli, and several classmates all sneered and ridiculed him. Alas, Jiang Tian's character is too strong. He doesn't know the importance of connections. Even Lu Yiting sighed in her heart and shook her head secretly. If it weren't for the sake of being classmates, I would have killed you long ago. Ho Tianlai scolded resentfully. Just then, the door was pushed open. Surrounded by several burly men, a middle-aged man with an extraordinary temperament came in and said with a smile, Monkey, you've worked hard. Come on, let me toast you and your classmates. Director Zhou, why are you here? Ho Tianlai was surprised and happy. He was so excited that his face turned red. He nodded and bowed like a loyal dog meeting its master. Don't call me Director Zhou. Call me Brother Hao. Zhou Zhenghao smiled and said, I heard that you've collected 100-year-old ginseng. Of course, I'm here to thank you for your hard work. Director Zhou, Brother Hao, seeing that Zhou Zhenghao came to propose a toast, everyone in the room stood up at the same time. They were all very excited. These young people who had just graduated a few years ago didn't know how Zhou Zhenghao became rich. They only knew that he was a well-known private entrepreneur in Linzhou with billions of assets. He was someone who was on the same level as the district secretary. Only Jiang Tian was as calm as a mountain. He didn't even move. Brother Hao, Brother Long, who was standing behind Zhou Zhenghao, pulled his sleeve and pointed at Jiang Tian's direction with a strange expression. As soon as Zhou Zhenghao came in, everyone greeted him. Everyone's attention was on Zhou Zhenghao, so no one noticed Jiang Tian. When they saw the smile on Zhou Zhenghao's face froze, they realized that something was wrong. They turned around and saw Jiang Tian sitting there as calm as a mountain, which was very eye-catching. Everyone was a bit surprised. Is this kid stupid? How can a public relations guy have such low EQ? Why doesn't he know how to greet Brother Hao? Ouch! Yuan glanced at Jiang Tian and sneered, Jiang Tian, is there glue on your ass? Brother Hao is here to propose a toast, and you don't even know how to stand up. Seeing that Zhou Zhenghao's smile froze, Yuan thought that Jiang Tian didn't stand up and made him unhappy. She thought that Zhou Zhenghao was going to make fun of him. Jiang, the moment Zhou Zhenghao saw Jiang Tian, it was as if he was struck by lightning. He was dumbfounded and his face was as pale as paper. He couldn't say the word, master, anymore. Chapter 25. Following Dong Dong's advice, he had been trying his best to curry favor with Jiang Tian. He had learned from Xiao Wei that Jiang Tian had cured old weirdo Tang's illness. He should be an expert in medicine and martial arts, so he should be a cultivator. He knew that an expert like Jiang Tian did not care about worldly wealth. What he liked most was spirit herbs and old herbs. So, he had asked his men to gather all kinds of magical herbs. He was almost done with the preparations and was about to visit Jiang Tian. He did not expect to run into him here. Brother Hao, don't be angry. This guy was disrespectful to you. I was just about to teach him a lesson. I will call someone now. Seeing Zhou Zhenghao's strange expression, Ho Tianlai took out his phone and was about to call someone to teach Jiang Tian a lesson. He had always disliked Jiang Tian, and now he had found a reason to do so. Slap. Suddenly, Zhou Zhenghao turned around and slapped Ho Tianlai's face. Brother Hao. Ho Tianlai covered his face in shock and did not know what to do. Slap. Zhou Zhenghao slapped Yuan's face again and said with a gloomy face, how dare you disrespect Grandmaster Jiang? If you don't want to die, kneel down before Grandmaster Jiang. Master Kong. Who is that? Don't tell me it's Jiang Tian. Everyone was dumbfounded. They did not understand why Zhou Zhenghao suddenly lost his temper. Zhou Zhenghao quickly walked up to Jiang Tian, his waist almost touching the ground, and said in the most respectful tone he had ever used in his life, Little Zhou greets Grandmaster Jiang. I didn't know you were here, so I came late to welcome you, please forgive me. Jiang Tian picked up a grape from the plate and peeled it leisurely. After peeling the skin, he looked up and said, his name is Jiang Tian, Master Kong, and he calls himself Xiao Zhou. Everyone present was shocked to see Zhou Zhenghao, who was extremely powerful in Linzhou, kneeling in front of Jiang Tian. It was like a primary school student meeting his teacher. Lu Yiting was confused. Wasn't he just a PR manager for Zhao's pharmaceutical company? How did he become Master Kong? Moreover, Zhou Zhenghao was too respectful to him. He wouldn't even be so respectful to his own father. Ho Tianlai was confused. He frowned and said in a low voice, Brother Hao, you've got the wrong person. He's my classmate. He's a good-for-nothing. Now he's a public relations officer. Only then did Zhou Zhenghao notice that Ho Tianlai and Lu Yiting hadn't knelt down yet. He turned around abruptly and slapped them twice. Did I recognize the wrong person, or are you all blind? This is Master Kong. Those medicinal herbs are for him. What? He is Master Kong. When Ho Tianlai heard this, his face turned pale with fright, and he knelt down with a plop. Rumor had it that Master Kong could control ghosts. He was so powerful that even the Tang family had a good relationship with him. However, he never would have thought that the famous Grandmaster Jiang was the classmate from a poor family who didn't even have a mobile phone or a car to get around. Brother Hao, we really didn't know. Yuan also knelt down in fear. Tears streamed down her cheeks and her body trembled. Others might not know, but she knew that Zhou Zhenghao was a big shot who had connections with both the government and the underworld. He had taken lives before. Ask them to leave. I don't want to see them in Lin Zhou anymore. Jiang Tian continued to eat grapes and said lightly. Get up. Brother Long and a few bodyguards carried the two of them out of the room. Ho Tianlai didn't give up. He struggled and begged, Jiang Tian, please give me a chance. Please forgive me, shut up. Do you think you can call Master Kong by his name? The clear-eyed Ah Long punched him in the stomach, forcing him to swallow the rest of his words back into his stomach. He coldly shouted, if you want to die, don't involve the boss. Grandmaster Jiang not giving the order to kill you is already being lenient. After the two of them were carried out, the room was silent again. Jiang Tian was too lazy to speak. Zhou Zhenghao didn't know how to break the deadlock. Lu Yiting, Zhao Dan, Zhengli, and the other classmates didn't dare to speak at all. Zhou Zhenghao's bodyguards, on the other hand, were trembling in fear as if they had seen a god. In the end, Zhou Zhenghao broke the silence. He bowed and said with a flattering smile, Master Kong, I've collected some herbs recently. I don't know if they're good enough for you. In fact, Jiang Tian didn't want to pay attention to people like Zhou Zhenghao. He already wanted to leave. However, when he heard this, his heart was moved. He was penniless now, and the herbs that he cultivated were all expensive. He couldn't get them at all. Let me see. Jiang Tian nodded slightly. Good. I'll have someone send it over. Zhou Zhenghao was overjoyed and quickly ordered his men. Master Kong, you're here. I didn't know in advance. Please forgive me for not being a good host. A moment later, elder sister Dong Dong leisurely walked in with a few young girls each holding a brocade box. She had been in the scene for a long time. She had even entertained the mayor and the district head. When she saw Jiang Tian, she could maintain her composure. However, her slightly trembling hands ruthlessly exposed her nervousness and fear at this time. Is this an old ginseng? I'm afraid it's 100 years old. 9 tunes sealwort. It's already in the shape of a dragon. It's like a dragon flying in the sky. A human-shaped polygonum multiflorum. It's so big. I'm afraid it's worth at least a few million yuan. The brocade boxes were opened one by one. There were too many things for the eyes to take in. They exclaimed and stared in disbelief. These medicinal herbs were extremely valuable. Not only were they expensive, but they were also extremely rare. If anyone could get their hands on one, they would definitely treat it as a family heirloom and hide it. Who knew that Zhou Zhenghao would give it to Jiang Tian? Although Jiang Tian's expression was calm, he was actually quite excited. These herbs were quite old. They were enough for Jiang Tian to make a foundation-strengthening pill and become his resources to step into the qi refining stage. Not bad. Jiang Tian smiled faintly. Since it's suitable for me, I'll take it all. I owe you a favor, and I'll definitely repay it. Zhou Zhenghao wiped the sweat off his forehead. He didn't waste his time these past few days. He had turned Lin Zhou upside down. But when he heard Jiang Tian's last sentence, Zhou Zhenghao was so scared that his whole body trembled. He had been in the Jianghu for so long. How could he not know this principle? Zhou Zhenghao immediately smiled and said, Grandmaster Jiang, what are you talking about? You have to understand that this is my filial piety. To be able to work for Mr. Jiang is a blessing that I have accumulated over several lifetimes. Why would I want anything in return? Master Kong, why don't we go upstairs and have another meal and talk? This kid is really light. No wonder he can build up such a big family business despite being born in the wilderness. Jiang Tian chuckled in his heart. He put all the herbs into a box and held it in his hand. He stood up slowly and said, "Okay, I have to go. If I go home too late, Xueqing will be worried." "Okay, goodbye, Master Kong. You must come visit more often when you're free." Zhou Zhenghao hurriedly followed him like a loyal servant. "You don't have to see me out." Jiang Tian waved his hand and said, "By the way, my classmate Lu Yiting is having some financial difficulties. Lend her some money." "No problem. It will be interest-free." No. You can even give it to her for free." Zhou Zhenghao was so excited that he was a little incoherent. After Jiang Tian left for half a minute, everyone was stunned. They looked at each other and didn't say anything for a long time. One sentence could decide Ho Tianlai's life and death. Zhou Zhenghao worshipped him like a god and gave him those herbs worth at least tens of millions. Who was he exactly? "I heard in school that Jiang Tian seems to be the son of a big family," Zheng Li suddenly said faintly. What kind of person was Zhou Zhenghao? He was on the same level as the district mayor, but he was so respectful to Jiang Tian. Other than the fact that Jiang Tian was from one of those legendary aristocratic families, was there any other explanation? Now that Jiang Tian was only 25 years old, he could make Zhou Zhenghao bow his head. If he was in charge of the family and could use the family's wealth, how terrifying would that be? Perhaps even the mayor and the secretary of the district committee would have to bow their heads in front of him. She regretted that she had missed an opportunity that could have saved her 20 years of hard work. Zheng Li was not the only one who thought of this. All the students present understood this point and were filled with regret and dejection. If they could ride on Jiang Tian's coattails, they would be able to achieve great things in the future. Just a little from him would be enough to fill their stomachs. Unfortunately, except for Lu Yiting, everyone else looked down on Jiang Tian. They followed Ho Tianlai to make things difficult for Jiang Tian. "Which one of you is Ms. Lu Yiting? Please come with me to my office." At this moment, Zhou Zhenghao had more or less recovered a bit of the bearing of a superior, and he smiled warmly. When they arrived at Zhou Zhenghao's office, Lu Yiting briefly explained the situation. Zhou Zhenghao immediately wrote a check and said, "Ms. Lu, you can take 10 million yuan of interest-free loan. You can pay it back at any time. It's okay if you can't pay it back." Lu Yiting was overjoyed that her urgent situation was solved so easily. She hurriedly said, "Don't worry, Mr. Zhou. Thank you so much. I'll pay you back as soon as possible." "You're welcome, Ms. Lu. Since it's Master Kang's order, I'll do it. 10 million yuan is nothing." Zhou Zhenghao smiled. After Dong Dong served tea, Lu Yiting took a few sips to calm down her excitement. She couldn't hold back her curiosity and asked with a smile, "Mr. Zhou, you're Jiang Tian's friend, right? How did you two meet?" "Sigh, Ms. Lu, you've overestimated me. Master Kong is like a dragon in the sky. He's like an immortal. I don't deserve to be Master Kang's friend. I'll be satisfied if I can be his lackey." Zhou Zhenghao sounded like he was joking, but his serious face didn't look like he was joking at all. Lu Yiting was shocked. What exactly did Jiang Tian do to make Zhou Zhenghao, this kind of hero, willing to be his lackey? "Ms. Lu, you should have a good impression of Mr. Jiang. If you have time, please put in a good word for me." Zhou Zhenghao's face was full of joy. He even tried to curry favor with her. "Of course." Lu Yiting nodded. She couldn't help but think of Jiang Tian's words, "I'll give you an opportunity." She couldn't wait any longer. This prescription must be very magical. I have to go back and try it. Chapter 26. When Jiang Tian returned to the Times mansion, Zhao Xueqing was working overtime in the study. He tiptoed into the kitchen and began to make pills. It had to be said that the herbs that Zhou Zhenghao gathered were not bad. Jiang Tian spent 3 hours and finally refined a Peiyuan pill. When he came out of the kitchen, Jiang Tian found that Zhao Xueqing was already asleep. However, Jiang Tian did not take the pill immediately. Jiang Tian understood that more haste, less speed. Breaking through from body forging to qi refining was a qualitative leap. He must have a good foundation. The next day at work, Zhao Xueqing entered the office. Zhou Liwen, who was in the laboratory, ran over and said happily, "Director Zhao, the experiment is a success." "What did you say?" Zhao Xueqing could not believe it. Professor Li's 10th experiment was a success. The patients didn't have any side effects. The effect is very obvious. After the ointment was applied, the ulcers were completely healed within 2 days. This effect is too amazing. Zhou Liwen handed over the experiment record and said excitedly, "It's a success. It's really a success. That's great." Zhao Xueqing quickly took the experiment record and read it. She could no longer hold back the smile on her face. She was so happy that she almost cried. She had been working on the improvement of the muscle-nourishing ointment for more than half a year. She had worked overtime dozens of times with countless experimenters. However, there was no progress. Now, she could finally see the light. Zhao's pharmaceutical company did not have any outstanding products. They were barely supported by the sales team. They could not make ends meet. This formula was enough to bring Zhao's pharmaceutical company back to life. It could even become one of the top pharmaceutical companies in the country. Zhao Xueqing quickly reported the news to Wei Fang. Wei Fang was also very happy as she smiled, "Professor Li, you're really not simple." The consultation fee was not spent in vain. Tonight, focus on introducing this product to Lu Wangfeng. With the Lu family's sales system, this product will definitely become a hit. When it was time to get off work, Zhao Xueqing called Jiang Tian and said, "Jiang Tian, I have a business meeting tonight. You can go home by yourself." "Who are you talking to?" Jiang Tian asked casually. "Lu Wangfeng, we have a hot product." When Zhao Xueqing uttered these 3 words, Jiang Tian didn't hear a single word that came out of her mouth. Crack. With a crisp sound, the small stone in Jiang Tian's hand was crushed into powder. Lu Wangfeng was the main culprit who caused him to be poisoned by alcohol and forced Zhao Xueqing to her death in his previous life. He had brought him endless pain. He deserved to die. Hey, Jiang Tian, did you hear that? Is there a problem with you going back by yourself?" Zhao Xueqing asked when she heard that Jiang Tian didn't move for a long time. "Oh, Xueqing, I'll go with you. Didn't Lu Wangfeng chase after you before? I'm afraid that he'll do something bad to you." Jiang Tian tried his best to suppress his excitement and said in a calm tone, "All right then. If Lu Wangfeng wants to get close to me, you can make him give up completely. But you can't hit him." Zhao Xueqing didn't think that Lu Wangfeng would do anything out of the ordinary. But when she thought of Li Pengtao's actions, she understood that it was impossible to judge a book by its cover. In the end, she agreed. "But you won't let me fight? If you really annoy him, I'll kill him with a knife." Jiang Tian chuckled. "How can that be?" Zhao Xueqing was shocked and said, "We still have to work with the Lu family. If you dare to fight, then don't go." "Then how can I make him give up?" Jiang Tian's face was gloomy. "Don't you know how to show affection? We're husband and wife." After hesitating for a moment, Zhao Xueqing's face blushed. She pouted and hung up the phone. Jiang Tian rejected the invitation of a group of girls from the public relations department to hang out at night. He quietly went to the underground parking lot, which was reserved for the president and department head. He got into Zhao Xueqing's Chevrolet and headed to the Sapphire Hotel. Night fell in Linzhou City. The man and woman didn't know what the other party was thinking. The couple's first public display of affection came because of the collaboration with the Lu family. The Sapphire Hotel was a 5-star hotel that was recently completed 2 years ago. It was located beside a resort in the eastern suburbs. It was surrounded by mountains and rivers, and the entire hotel was elegant. The rich European style made many people from the upper class like to discuss business here. When they got out of the car, Zhao Xueqing stretched out her arm and held onto Jiang Tian's arm. She acted like a little girl and said, "Let's go." Jiang Tian didn't know whether to laugh or cry. "How can you act like this? If you want him to know that we're close, then you have to show a smile. With your cold expression, he might think that you're a resentful woman. He hit me half a month ago. How can I smile?" Zhao Xueqing rolled her eyes and whispered, "You have to be careful later. If I don't signal you to speak, then don't speak." "Yes, my wife." Jiang Tian felt guilty and couldn't refute when she mentioned his previous evil deeds. The two of them were led by two beautiful hostesses and soon arrived at a large private room facing the lakeside. The door of a baroque milky-white private room opened, and a boorish man wearing suspenders, a white shirt, and a wine-red bow tie appeared. He smiled and said, "Miss Xiao, please come in. My young master has been waiting for a long time." Obviously, this man didn't even look at Jiang Tian. He didn't even consider Jiang Tian as a guest. He's a martial artist, and his cultivation isn't low. He should be at the peak of iron body. However, Jiang Tian looked at him deeply. He felt a kind of aura from this man. It was more obvious than the aura from Elder Tang and Tang Linglong. There was a faint sense of pressure. As expected, the Lu family or the three major families of Jinling definitely didn't have the power to defeat the Jiang family. There should be an expert guiding and helping them behind the scenes. Zhao Xueqing nodded and pulled Jiang Tian into the luxurious room. The air was filled with the faint smell of sandalwood. It refreshed the heart and refreshed the mind. "Xueqing, you're finally here." A magnetic voice was heard. A man in a white shirt stood up from the European-style leather sofa against the wall. The man was in his 30s. He was tall and had clean short hair. His eyebrows were sharp and his eyes were bright. He was handsome and exuded a noble aura. This kind of aura couldn't be faked. It could only be cultivated by a wealthy family. In Linzhou, the Lu family was second only to the Tang family. In terms of wealth, they were even better than the Tang family. Lu Wangfeng. Jiang Tian's eyes were filled with murderous intent. A sharp cold light flashed past. In his previous life, he forced Zhao Xueqing to her death. Jiang Tian came to take revenge with a dagger, but he was beaten to the point that he vomited blood and was thrown out of the door. At that time, Lu Wangfeng had already maliciously purchased the Zhao Pharmaceutical Company. He was extremely arrogant and lofty like a noble. Jiang Tian, on the other hand, was like an ant that had no power to fight back, panicking like a stray dog. Jiang Tian's heart was filled with hatred. He wanted to slap Lu Wangfeng into pieces. However, he forced himself to calm down. He wasn't in a hurry to deal with this bastard. It was like a cat playing with a mouse. He would slowly play with him and let him taste pain and fear. Moreover, up until now, Lu Wangfeng had not taken any substantial action. Previously, he had asked Wu Chaohui to deal with the alcohol poisoning. If he acted rashly, he was afraid that Zhao Xueqing would misunderstand him. Zhao Xueqing nodded her head expressionlessly. "Chairman Lu is too polite." Lu Wangfeng didn't seem to have noticed Zhao Xueqing's coldness. He still went up with a face full of joy and revealed the charm of a mature man. With a humble and sincere smile, he said, "I've been wanting to meet you for a long time. Regardless of whether the cooperation is successful or not, I'm satisfied to be able to have dinner with you." It was hard to imagine that the CEO of a listed company, the successor of the second-ranked family in Linzhou City, would be so humble and fawning to a woman. In the entire Linzhou City, there probably weren't many people who could withstand such a gentle attack. However, Zhao Xueqing wasn't affected by it. She still replied coldly, "You're too polite." Lu Wangfeng smiled and pulled out a chair in a gentlemanly manner. Xueqing, please take a seat. At this moment, Jiang Tian felt that he had underestimated Lu Wangfeng's intelligence. This brat should have already investigated his marriage with Zhao Xueqing. He even knew about Jiang Tian's background. He didn't treat Jiang Tian as an opponent at all. However, Jiang Tian didn't say anything. He pulled out a chair and was about to sit beside Zhao Xueqing. At this moment, the coarse man pushed the chair back and said with a sinister smile, Miss Zhao, our young master Lu only invited you. May I know who this gentleman is and why are you joining us? I'm Xueqing's husband. We sleep on the same bed at night and go to work together during the day. Jiang Tian pulled out a chair and sat down. Jiang Tian, you rogue. Zhao Xueqing pouted coquettishly. She was so embarrassed that her beautiful face flushed red. How am I a pervert? Didn't you call me big brother on the bed last night? Jiang Tian's large hand brushed past Zhao Xueqing's beautiful legs that were covered in silk stockings. He felt an extremely smooth sensation, like warm and fragrant jade. Zhao Xueqing's heart trembled violently. Her beautiful eyes rippled with shyness and intoxication. Although she knew that Jiang Tian was acting to make Lu Wangfeng give up, she still couldn't help but feel her heart pounding wildly. However, the strange thing was that she couldn't reject Jiang Tian's touch at this moment. She sensed a refreshing and pleasant scent from Jiang Tian's body. It was a fatal attraction to her that she couldn't reject at all. The entire room was dead silent. Lu Wangfeng's face fell instantly. He had already investigated everything. The two of them didn't get along and had never slept on the same bed. However, it seemed that the two of them were so close now. No matter how magnanimous Lu Wangfeng was, he was still furious when he thought of his beloved woman moaning under Jiang Tian's body. He clenched his teeth so hard that they almost broke. Moreover, didn't Wu Chaohui say that his brain was damaged? However, he looked normal now. Could it be that the operation failed? Lu Wangfeng's face turned a little pale. He forced a smile and said, Ha, Mr. Jiang and Xueqing are really a celestial couple. I'm so envious. He gave a signal to the boorish man and said, Conk, don't be rude to Mr. Jiang. Go and get the waiter to prepare the food. Yes, young master. Conk nodded and quickly walked out of the room. Jiang Tian couldn't help but have a higher opinion of Lu Wangfeng. It seemed that he wasn't a brainless rich second-generation heir. He even knew how to endure. Chapter 27. Whether it was Jiang Tian or Lu Wangfeng, both of them made Zhao Xueqing feel uneasy. She calmed herself down and said, Young Master Lu, it's still early. Let's talk about the cooperation first. All right. Whatever you say, Xueqing. The guest will follow the host. Lu Wangfeng no longer bothered with Jiang Tian. At this moment, he had already regained his demeanor as he smiled warmly. Although he was obviously trying to curry favor with Zhao Xueqing, Lu Wangfeng knew when to advance and retreat when it came to the negotiation. He would make compromises when he needed to, and he wouldn't give up on the benefits that he needed to insist on. When it came to business, Zhao Xueqing became more talkative. She wasn't good at socializing, but she had the demeanor of a successful career woman in business negotiations. When introducing the product, she was full of witty words. When it came to the price, she would only give up when she got the most benefits. Jiang Tian looked at Zhao Xueqing gently and sighed in his heart. Why didn't he notice Zhao Xueqing's charm in his previous life? She was such a virtuous and capable wife, yet he beat and scolded her. He was simply inhumane. Just like that, an hour later, the cooperation plan was finalized. Lu Wangfeng signed his name on the strategic cooperation agreement, and Zhao Xueqing only needed to bring it back for Wei Fang to sign. All right. I hope that Chairman Lu can keep his promise. I believe that the skin-nourishing ointment will definitely be a hit and win a broader market for both parties. Zhao Xueqing put away the contract. After a long battle of words, her pretty face was flushed red, and there was a kind of soul-stirring softness. Looking at this touching scene, Lu Wangfeng's heart thumped wildly. His gaze was dazed for a moment before he solemnly said, "Definitely. I hope that we can have a pleasant cooperation." It was already past 8 p.m., Conk stood up and smiled. "Chairman Lu, Miss Xiao should be hungry, right? Shall we serve the dishes?" "Yes, serve the dishes. I'm very happy to see Miss Xiao today. Give me my precious Latteberg red wine," Lu Wangfeng said. Zhao Xueqing didn't stop him. In order to maintain her figure, she ate very little at noon. Now, her stomach was rumbling. She was really hungry. After a while, the dishes were served. Conk opened the wine and filled everyone's glasses. Lu Wangfeng raised his cup and smiled. The cooperation with the Zhao Pharmaceutical Company this time went smoothly and delightfully. "Come, Xueqing, let me toast you." "Chairman Lu, you're too courteous. I should be the one toasting you." Zhao Xueqing raised her wine glass and smiled faintly. With a tinkling sound, the two goblets collided in the air, and the scarlet wine rippled. Zhao Xueqing's snow-white hands sparkled under the light of the crystal chandelier, as if they were carved out of fine jade, making Lu Wangfeng's heart beat wildly. "Come, Mr. Jiang Tian, let me toast you." Conk pulled Jiang Tian aside and toasted him with a simple and honest smile. "Drink this wine, and you'll be mine." Seeing that Zhao Xueqing's wine glass was close to her lips, Lu Wangfeng took a sip of the red wine with a cold smile on his lips. He was feeling smug in his heart. Unexpectedly, Jiang Tian snatched the wine cup away from Zhao Xueqing. He raised his head and gulped down the wine in one gulp. He wiped the wine stain on the corner of his mouth and said, "Xueqing is preparing for pregnancy and can't drink. I'll drink on her behalf." Zhao Xueqing felt a trace of sweetness in her heart. She never expected that Jiang Tian would drink for her. "Not bad." Lu Wangfeng knitted his brows and smiled, "Then it's fine. Conk, bring a bottle of drink for Xueqing." Conk turned around and took a bottle of coconut juice from the wine cabinet and placed it before Zhao Xueqing. "Lu Wangfeng, that's enough, right? You've tried to poison her time and time again. Don't you have any shame?" Jiang Tian suddenly spoke with a cold gaze. "What do you mean by poison?" Zhao Xueqing still had no idea what was going on as she was astonished. Panic flashed in Lu Wangfeng's eyes as he forced a smile. "Jiang Tian, what are you joking about? I'm sincere in my cooperation with Miss Xiao. Let's go." Jiang Tian pulled Zhao Xueqing and left. He already had the intention to kill, but he had also learned a lesson from injuring Li Pingtao previously. If he wanted to kill someone, he had to find a dark and windy night. "Jiang Tian, don't even think about leaving this room if you don't make yourself clear." Lu Wangfeng did not move from his seat as he let out a sinister smile and slit Conk's throat. Conk quickly walked to the door and blocked his path. "No one in this world can stop me." Jiang Tian held Zhao Xueqing's hand and snorted in disdain, "Get lost if you don't want to die." "Hee, Jiang Tian, who do you think you are? How dare you talk to our young master like that?" Conk threw a punch at Jiang Tian's chest with a ferocious expression as if she wanted to beat Jiang Tian to death to vent her anger. He was an orthodox martial artist with a cultivation base at the pinnacle of the iron body stage. He was much stronger than Zhou Zhenghao's subordinates. His punch was like a cannonball that exploded in the air. A gust of wind blew in the room, making it difficult for people to breathe. If this punch landed, it would be enough to shatter stone and kill an ordinary person immediately. "I'm afraid that Jiang Tian will meet God after Conk's punch. A piece of trash who was abandoned by the Jiang family dares to challenge me and fight for a woman with me. Do you think you're worthy?" Lu Wangfeng did not even move. He sat calmly as he swirled the wine in his glass. His eyes were filled with coldness as he mocked Conk in his heart. Just now, Lu Wangfeng had received instructions from Jinling. He could kill Jiang Tian first and cause trouble for the Jiang clan, making it easier for the three great clans of Jinling to move. They would also help Lu Wangfeng settle everything and take down the Zhao clan. Slap. To his surprise, Jiang Tian raised his hand and slapped Konk's face as if he was swatting a fly. Konk was like a kite with a broken string. She flew 5 meters before her head hit the wall, leaving a bright red stain on the wall. Konk slowly fell to the ground. She closed her eyes and remained motionless. What? Lu Wangfeng was shocked. He stood up and took a step back. Isn't he a piece of trash? How can he be so powerful? Konk is an internal force expert sent by the Jinlin city. It felt as if Jiang Tian was an ant that could be easily squashed. But now, he had turned into a prehistoric Tyrannosaurus rex. Jiang Tian turned around and approached Lu Wangfeng. His eyes were filled with murderous intent as he said coldly, "Young Master Lu, I didn't want to pursue this matter. I've given you a chance, but you didn't cherish it. Jiang Tian, what are you trying to do?" When he noticed Jiang Tian's icy cold killing intent, Lu Wangfeng's heart was in chaos, and he cried out involuntarily with a slightly trembling voice. "You drugged me and ordered Konk to kill me. What do you think I should do to you?" Jiang Tian walked up to him and slapped his face. Slap. Lu Wangfeng was sent flying. He smashed the LCD TV on the wall into pieces and slid to the ground. His head was bleeding profusely from the impact. His face was covered in blood and he was in a sorry state. He didn't look like a young master anymore. "Jiang Tian, how dare you hit me? I won't let you go." Lu Wangfeng held his head and shook it a little. He then got up, pointed at Jiang Tian, and cursed while gnashing his teeth. He was one of the top young masters in Linzhou. He was on par with Tang Jianfeng and the others. When had he ever been humiliated like this? "I hope you can still threaten me like this after I break your limbs." After Jiang Tian said that, he reached out his hands and grabbed Lu Wangfeng's arm. He twisted it gently. Kacha! A crisp sound was heard. Lu Wangfeng's arm was easily broken like a stick. It was bent in a strange direction like a praying mantis's arm. What? Zhao Xueqing was stunned. She couldn't believe it. Lu Wangfeng was a taboo in Linzhou. No one dared to offend him. However, Jiang Tian slapped Lu Wangfeng's face and broke his arm. Ah! Lu Wangfeng's handsome face twisted. Then, he let out a shrill scream. He stumbled back and knocked over the coffee table. Jiang Tian's actions were too fast. Zhao Xueqing only reacted when she heard Lu Wangfeng's scream. She rushed over and grabbed Jiang Tian. She said anxiously, "Jiang Tian, stop it. You promised me that you won't fight." "Lu Wangfeng, I'm willing to let Xueqing be frightened. I'll let you go this time. If you dare to cause trouble again, I'll kill you." Jiang Tian didn't even look at Lu Wangfeng. He picked up the bottle of coconut juice on the table and left with Zhao Xueqing. On the way back, Zhao Xueqing's face was as cold as frost. She was furious. She didn't expect Jiang Tian to hit Lu Wangfeng. It seemed like the cooperation with the Lu family was over. "My dear wife, are you unhappy? Did I frighten you?" Jiang Tian said with a fawning smile. "Jiang Tian, how can you be so impulsive? How can you hit someone? You're like a lunatic." Zhao Xueqing said angrily. Lu Wangfeng didn't have good intentions. He drugged the red wine. Jiang Tian waved the bottle of coconut juice and said, "After I blocked the wine for you, I drugged you with coconut juice. If you don't believe me, you can find a laboratory to test it." "What are you joking about?" Zhao Xueqing said disdainfully, "Why would he drug me? He wants to violate me. Isn't he afraid of legal punishment? Although the Zhao family isn't a big family, we won't be bullied by anyone. Besides, did you see it with your own eyes when he drugged me? How did you know? Also, if it's really poisonous, why are you fine after drinking it?" Zhao Xueqing grew up in a simple environment. How would she know how despicable and scary the top families were? Xueqing, you have to believe me. As long as you check it, you'll understand. Facing Zhao Xueqing's barrage of questions, Jiang Tian was speechless. He could only laugh bitterly. He used his heaven's eye to see the black poisonous gas in the wine. Normal people wouldn't be able to see it with their naked eyes. Jiang Tian was already at the second level of body tempering stage. Not to mention that he was immune to poison, these poisons from the secular world were completely ineffective. However, if he said all this, Zhao Xueqing would probably think that he was even crazier. Chapter 28. Alright, that's enough. I'm so annoyed with you right now. Unable to accomplish anything but good at spoiling things. Zhao Xueqing was extremely disappointed. She originally thought that Jiang Tian's condition had improved, but it didn't. Instead, he became even crazier. Instead of beating her, he started to beat others. They didn't speak along the way, and when they were about to arrive at the Times mansion, Zhao Xueqing received a call from Wei Fang. Wei Fang said that she had something important to discuss and asked her to make a trip to the lakeside villa. You go home first. I'll go and see my parents. Zhao Xueqing said with a tired and weak face. The truth was out, and a storm was coming. Xueqing, let me go with you. I'll bear the consequences of my actions. Jiang Tian said. You? How are you going to bear the consequences? Zhao Xueqing was annoyed as she urged, hurry up and go home. I'll thank you if you don't cause trouble for me. Alright then. Jiang Tian helplessly took the bottle of coconut juice and got out of the car. In the living room of Lakeside Villa 39, Zhao Hucheng and Wei Fang sat on the sofa with ashen faces. Zhao Xueqing didn't dare to make a sound as she brewed tea by the side. Jiang Tian even dared to beat up Lu Wangfeng. He must be tired of living. Zhao Hucheng slammed the table and scolded. He can't do anything right. Wei Fang's face was also filled with hatred. The Lu family has already said that they want to ban the Zhao Pharmaceutical Company from the market. They can just wait for the company to close down. Mom, it's all my fault. I didn't stop Jiang Tian in time, but he did make the first move. Zhao Xueqing sat by the side with tears in her eyes. She wanted to explain for Jiang Tian. Just because the other party made the first move, how can he beat them up so badly? Wei Fang said angrily, Kong has a concussion and might become a vegetable. Lu Wangfeng's arm is fractured and has a mild concussion. Does he have any concept of the law? We're decent businessmen, not gangsters. Auntie, I believe that Jiang Tian must have his reasons for doing this. Zhao Xueqing said weakly. What reason could he have? He's a madman, a lunatic. Zhao Hucheng cursed angrily. The atmosphere was stifling, and the air was so thick that it was as if water could drip out. The three of them were speechless for a long time. In the huge living room, there was a terrifying silence. The Lu family has said that they will pursue Jiang Tian's legal responsibility and send him to prison. Zhao Hucheng frowned as he took out his phone and glanced at it. Zhao Xueqing pretty face a panic. Dad, you can't do this, go to prison, Jiang Tian's life will be ruined. Then what can we do? With her arms crossed, Wei Fang expressionlessly said, he's responsible for what he did. Otherwise, our Zhao family will also be finished. Why don't we report the situation to the Jiang family and ask them for help? Zhao Xueqing said anxiously. The Jiang family is surrounded by enemies and can't even take care of themselves. How would they have the time to get such a useless disciple? Zhao Hucheng said, moreover, after Jiang Tian beat up that Yanjing young master, the Jiang family cut ties with him, so how would the Jiang family dare to help him? Then what should we do? We can't just watch as Jiang Tian is sent to prison, right? Zhao Xueqing said. The Lu family also put forward a condition, as long as you divorce Jiang Tian, they won't pursue Jiang Tian's responsibility. Wei Fang said patiently, Xueqing, just divorce Jiang Tian. He's already crazy, so don't care about him. Auntie, how can I not care about Jiang Tian? No matter what, he's my husband. Zhao Xueqing's tears rolled down. If you don't divorce him, the Lu family will destroy our Zhao pharmaceutical company. Zhao Huqing said angrily, this brat is a troublemaker. Do you want to watch our Zhao family be dragged down by him? Xueqing, you don't have to worry about Jiang Tian's life. I can give him 1 million as a breakup fee. Wei Fang took out a bank card and handed it over. She said gently, do you know that Lu Wangfeng has been targeting Jiang Tian because of you? Only if you divorce Jiang Tian and cut ties with Jiang Tian will Lu Wangfeng let go of Jiang Tian. Lu Wangfeng is targeting Jiang Tian because of me. Zhao Xueqing's heart was in a mess as tears blurred her eyes. After Jiang Tian returned home, he was extremely frustrated. He had been waiting for Zhao Xueqing to come back, and he was also thinking about everything that had happened today. His understanding of the world was too simple. Just having strength wasn't enough. He had to convert his strength into wealth and power. If he was still a VIP of the Tang family and had the support of the Tang family, what could the Lu family do to him? Unfortunately, he had fallen out with the Tang family. If he were to ask them for help now, where would he put his face? He waited until dawn before Zhao Xueqing came back. Her eyes were red as if she had just cried. Xueqing, you cried. Are you all right? Jiang Tian brewed a cup of chrysanthemum tea and brought it over. Jiang Tian, let's divorce. Zhao Xueqing took a sip of tea and suppressed her emotions. What? Divorce? Why? Jiang Tian was dumbfounded as if he had been struck by lightning. In his previous life, Zhao Xueqing had never thought of leaving him even during the most difficult times, even when she was threatened by Lu Wangfeng. Why else? You're crazy and stupid. You can't do anything right. I'm afraid I'll have to suffer for the rest of my life if I stay with you. Zhao Xueqing said coldly. She lamented in her heart. Jiang Tian, don't blame me. I'm divorcing you because of you. Otherwise, the Lu family won't let you off. Xueqing, believe me. I'll make you happy. Jiang Tian was in disbelief. The Zhao Xueqing in front of him was too unfamiliar. It was as if she had become a different person. Jiang Tian, that's enough. I won't trust you anymore. Don't drag me down. After the divorce, I'll fall in love, remarry, have children, and have a happy family. But that has nothing to do with you. The house was bought by your parents. It belongs to you. Here's 1 million. Take it as your compensation. Hurry up and sign the divorce agreement. Zhao Xueqing's face was frosty. She took out a stack of documents and a bank card and placed them on the coffee table. Then, she got up and went into the bedroom. Jiang Tian sat there dumbfounded. He couldn't believe it and his heart was filled with bitterness. He originally thought that he would be able to protect Zhao Xueqing for the rest of her life. He didn't expect that after just a few days, the two of them would be divorcing. Watching the love turn bad, watching the love in a daze, I can't give you the future, but I'll give you the present, ending quietly is also another kind of treatment, when the tears flow, the pain is overloaded, separating is also another kind of understanding, the last love I'll give you is to let go, don't want a double bed with an ocean in between, the stain in our relationship is left to time to slowly wash away. In the distance, Li Xingjie's Let Go drifted over from an unknown KTV. That familiar melody was filled with sorrow and determination. Jiang Tian picked up a pen and felt that it was extremely heavy. He stood there in a daze. In just a few minutes, it felt like a century had passed. After signing his name, with this agreement, the thin feelings between the two of them disappeared. From then on, they became strangers. Yeah, in her eyes, I'm a lunatic, a scumbag. I'm a burden to her. She must be very tired. Besides, the reason why the Lu family suppressed the Zhao family was also because of the instigation of the major families in Jinling. Maybe if I leave her, Jinling and the Lu family will give up on the Zhao family. Maybe, like the song says, the last love is to let go. Jiang Tian's heart was in a mess. In the end, he flipped to the last page of the agreement and slowly signed his name on the divorce agreement. At this time, Zhao Xueqing was curled up in bed like a helpless baby. She suppressed the surging sadness and tears fell like rain. Jiang Tian, although our relationship is not very good, I have never thought of abandoning you for my own happiness. I have always been looking forward to your improvement, looking forward to you becoming a good husband. It's just that if I don't divorce you, the Lu family will not let you go. You will go to prison. Jiang Tian, I'm sorry. The next morning, Zhao Xueqing woke up and went to the living room. She saw the signed agreement but the bank card was gone. She suddenly stood there for a long time. Her heart was filled with disappointment and sadness. As expected, Jiang Tian was a greedy person. For 1 million, he was willing to divorce. Xueqing, wait a moment. The food will be ready soon. Jiang Tian was busy in the kitchen. After a while, the food was served. As she ate her delicious breakfast, there was a moment when Zhao Xueqing wondered if Jiang Tian had completely recovered, or if his craziness was all an act. But when she thought of how Jiang Tian was crazily beating people up, Zhao Xueqing shuddered. If he had recovered, why would he be so crazy? After eating, Zhao Xueqing said, Jiang Tian, let's go to work. I'm not going. Jiang Tian shook his head. He decided to speed up his cultivation during this period of time and investigate where Lu Yunhai and Wu Chaohui lived. This way, even if he left Zhao Xueqing, she would not be a threat in Linzhou. Then, he would be able to step on the road of cultivation and return to his previous peak state. Oh, then be careful at home. Don't run around. Zhao Xueqing was absent-minded. She was not used to going to work without Jiang Tian. When are you going to divorce? Jiang Tian asked. I'm a bit busy these days. Let's wait until Friday. I still have to find a place to live. I'll move out on Friday. Zhao Xueqing left the Times mansion as if she was escaping. After Zhao Xueqing left, Jiang Tian called Zhou Zhenghao with the home phone. Help me investigate where these two people live and their activities. Master Kong, what is it? Lu Wangfeng, Wu Chaohui. Hearing these two names, Zhou Zhenghao suddenly felt a chill in his heart. These two people were considered first-class young masters in Linzhou. They had powerful backgrounds and were even more powerful than him. What was Jiang Tian trying to do? However, he did not dare to ask. He said confidently, Master Kong, don't worry. I'll find out. Okay. Call this number when you're done. Jiang Tian hung up the phone and immediately sat cross-legged to meditate. He swallowed the energy elixir. The surging energy of the elixir rose up in his qi with a boom. It was like a nuclear explosion. It hurts. Jiang Tian's face twisted in pain. Cold sweat rolled down his face. He could not help but groan. However, he clenched his teeth and persevered. Chapter 29. The next morning, Zhao Xueqing woke up and went to the living room. She saw the signed agreement, but the bank card was gone. She stood there for a long time, feeling disappointed and sad. Sure enough, Jiang Tian was greedy for money. He was willing to divorce for 1 million yuan. Xueqing, wait a minute. The food will be ready soon. Jiang Tian was busy in the kitchen. After a while, the food was served. As she ate her delicious breakfast, there was a moment when Zhao Xueqing wondered if Jiang Tian had completely recovered, or if his craziness was all an act. But thinking of Jiang Tian's crazy beating, Zhao Xueqing shuddered. If he had recovered, how could he be so crazy? After the meal, Zhao Xueqing said, Jiang Tian, let's go to work. I'm not going. Jiang Tian shook his head. He decided to speed up his cultivation during this period of time and investigate Lu Yunhai and Wu Chaohui's residence to eliminate the source of trouble. This way, even if he left Zhao Xueqing, she would not be a threat in Linzhou. Then, he would be able to step on the road of cultivation and return to his peak state as soon as possible. Oh, then be careful at home. Don't run around. Zhao Xueqing's eyes lost focus. She was not used to going to work without Jiang Tian. When are you going to file for divorce? Jiang Tian asked. I'm a bit busy these days. Let's wait until Friday. I still have to find a place to live. I'll move out on Friday. Zhao Xueqing left the Times mansion as if she was escaping. After Zhao Xueqing left, Jiang Tian called Zhou Zhenghao with the home phone. Help me investigate where these two people live and their activities. Master Kong, what is it? Lu Wangfeng, Wu Chaohui. Hearing these two names, Zhou Zhenghao felt a chill in his heart. The two of them were considered first-rate young masters in Linzhou. They had powerful backgrounds and were even more powerful than him. What was Jiang Tian trying to do? However, he did not dare to ask. He took on the responsibility and said, Master Kong, don't worry. I will definitely investigate this thoroughly. Yes. Call this number when you're done with your investigation. Jiang Tian hung up the phone and immediately sat cross-legged in meditation, swallowing the foundation elixir. The surging medicinal power rose up in his qi si with a boom, as if a nuclear explosion had occurred. It hurts. Jiang Tian's face contorted in pain. Cold sweat rolled down his face as he let out a muffled groan. However, he gritted his teeth and persevered. With Lu Yunhai's influence, it was normal for him to have bodyguards armed with guns. Jiang Tian was currently in the second layer of body tempering stage. He could not take small-caliber firearms head-on. He had to break through to qi refining stage before he could move. As Jiang Tian circulated the primal chaos creation technique, the surging medicinal strength transformed into strands of true essence that flowed along his meridians and poured into his various apertures, nourishing his tendons, bones, and muscles, causing him to become extremely strong. Jiang Tian did not expect the medicinal power of these precious herbs to be so pure and effective. It seemed that there was hope for him to break through to the second layer of qi refining stage. 5 hours passed in the blink of an eye. In the afternoon, the true origin in Jiang Tian's body increased at a frightening rate. However, Jiang Tian soon felt that something was wrong. When his true origin reached the peak of body tempering stage, it stopped advancing. Moreover, the scorching aura began to burn his meridians and acupoints. His skin began to crack and seep out blood. This is bad. This is the rhythm of qi deviation. Jiang Tian felt waves of intense pain in his meridians. Even his sea of qi felt like it was going to explode. He was shocked. In a moment of desperation, Jiang Tian bit his finger. With a puff, blood spurted out like an arrow. Looks like I can't be too hasty next time. Otherwise, the great Taichu Celestial Venerable would die from qi deviation at the body tempering stage. That would be the biggest joke. Feeling that his sea of qi had calmed down, Jiang Tian rejoiced. Fortunately, he was quick-witted. Otherwise, he would be in trouble. This energy cultivation pill used 300-year-old ginseng, a Chinese knotweed, and a 9-tune sealwort. The medicinal power was too strong. All medicines were poisonous. These were all great medicines. Their medicinal properties were very strong and ferocious. Not to mention a weak person, even a strong man would bleed from all 7 orifices and die if he ate all of them in one go. He was in a hurry to get rid of the Lu family. His body tempering stage was not stable at all. His meridians were not strong enough, and his flesh was not strong enough. He could not bear the medicinal power. When the burning sensation in his meridians subsided slightly, Jiang Tian hurriedly circulated his energy to stop the bleeding. After losing a lot of blood, Jiang Tian found that he had successfully reached the peak of body tempering stage. Moreover, there were still many medicinal properties left in his blood. If he continued to cultivate, he should be able to reach the qi refinement stage. Suddenly, his phone rang. It was a call from Zhou Zhenghao, who reported the two's residence and daily activities to Jiang Tian in detail. Good. Thank you for your hard work. A cold light flashed in Jiang Tian's eyes. Lu Yunhai, Wu Chaohui, just you wait. I will make sure you die without a burial place. Master Kong, do you have any other instructions? Zhou Zhenghao asked. How about this, help me find a few high-quality jade stones and a few carving knives. Also, buy some cinnabar and talisman paper, a mobile phone, and a set of acupuncture needles. Also, I need a place to stay. Jiang Tian instructed. The jade was to make a few protective talismans for Zhao Xueqing. That way, he would be more at ease. The talisman paper and cinnabar were used to make the fireball talisman. Killing someone must be done without leaving any trace. Originally, he used to make talismans with the blood of monsters and beast skins in the cultivation world. But now, he could only make do with it. The reason why he stayed at the Imperial Club was because he still needed to cultivate. It was very dangerous and he might cause a big commotion. It would be bad if he scared Zhao Xueqing. No problem. Just come to the Emperor Club. There are 5-star rooms upstairs. Zhou Zhenghao quickly agreed. Jiang Tian packed some daily necessities into a shoulder bag. He looked at the room that he had lived in for a few years and hurried out. Zhao Xueqing just came back from work. She asked in surprise, Jiang Tian, where are you going? Oh, we are going to divorce. It is not convenient for me to live at home. I will live in the Emperor Club. If you need anything, you can find me there. Jiang Tian said lightly. How can you afford to live in that kind of place? After saying that, Zhao Xueqing suddenly realized something and said coldly, right, you've got 1,000,000 yuan now. You're rich now. Don't you want to enjoy it? Well, you can go. However, this was at the cost of ending their marriage. Was he really that heartless and unfeeling? Thinking of this, Zhao Xueqing's nose twitched. Her eyes were filled with tears. She said disappointedly, well, you can go. When Jiang Tian arrived at the Emperor Club, Zhou Zhenghao immediately greeted him and presented him with the things that he needed. There were a few pieces of high ice jade that were worth at least 5,000,000 yuan. But in Jiang Tian's eyes, it was nothing. Jiang Tian was too lazy to talk nonsense with him. He took the things and entered the room under Zhou Zhenghao's lead. Jiang Tian immediately began to cultivate. He wanted to reach the level of qi refining as soon as possible. However, the effect of the energy cultivation pill was too strong. He still couldn't control the burning sensation in his body. Jiang Tian felt that it was a waste to bleed for nothing. After all, it contained the essence of the great medicine. It just so happened that there was a blood collection station nearby. Jiang Tian had an idea and went to donate his blood. He thought to himself that whoever wanted to use his blood would be able to cure all kinds of illnesses. He would be making a huge profit. After the first donation, the nurse at the blood collection station stopped him and said with a smile, "Sir, this is the blood donation certificate. There is also 500 yuan for nutrition." Jiang Tian didn't refuse. After all, no matter how small a mosquito was, it was still meat. He took the money and signed the receipt. He stuffed the receipt into his backpack and walked away slowly. For the next few days, Jiang Tian focused on cultivating. When he was not cultivating, he would inscribe protective talismans on the pieces of jade. Every afternoon, he would go to the blood collection station to donate his blood so that the medicine in his body would be just right. Soon, he broke through to the second level of qi refining. In the blink of an eye, it was Friday. Zhao Xueqing was about to go to work when Jiang Tian opened the door and walked in. "Xueqing, it's time to go through the divorce procedures today. Do you have time?" Zhao Xueqing felt bitter. Could it be that you can't wait to divorce? Do you hate me so much that you don't have any reluctance? Or is it because of the compensation of 1 million yuan? I accompanied you for a few years and took care of you for a few years. What did I get in return? She took a deep breath and calmed her agitated emotions. She said coldly, let's go. I've been waiting for this day for a long time. On the way to the Civil Affairs Bureau, Zhao Xueqing's car broke down again. She had to call a tow truck to pull it to the 4S shop. After fixing the car and paying the bill, Zhao Xueqing realized that there was no money in her card. She frowned and said, Jiang Tian, can you lend me 2,000 yuan? Ah, you need money? Jiang Tian was stunned. He didn't plan to take the 1 million yuan in his card, so he didn't withdraw it. Now, he only had 2,000 yuan in nutrition fees from donating blood. With Zhou Zhenghao taking care of him, he didn't need money. Seeing Jiang Tian hesitate, Zhao Xueqing was furious. Was there no love between husband and wife after the divorce? He couldn't even bear to part with 2,000 yuan. These days, she was especially annoyed. Lu Wangfeng called her time and time again to harass her, but she couldn't do anything. She said angrily, Jiang Tian, I gave you 1 million yuan. The interest for these few days should be 2,000 yuan, right? You're too stingy and cold-blooded. Okay, I'll give it to you. Jiang Tian raised his hands and surrendered. He took out 2,000 yuan from his bag and handed it to Zhao Xueqing. Zhao Xueqing was extremely disappointed with Jiang Tian. She hated him to the core and didn't even bother to say another word. After fixing the car, they left the 4S shop and arrived at the Civil Affairs Bureau. Zhao Xueqing quickly walked to the counter and handed the divorce agreement over. The auntie looked at it and frowned. Miss, are you sure about the division of property? Why does the house belong to the man? Thank you, auntie. There's no problem with this. Zhao Xueqing sighed in her heart. It wasn't just a house. She even had to pay him 1 million yuan. Marriage certificate, household register. The auntie looked at Jiang Tian with disgust. Seeing how docile and well-behaved this lass was, she definitely wouldn't have cheated on her husband. The reason for the divorce should be because of emotional discord or the man's domestic violence. As a man, you actually let your wife leave with nothing? Aren't you embarrassed? You're too greedy and heartless. Ah. You still need a marriage certificate? Zhao Xueqing was embarrassed. Of course, the marriage certificate has to be cancelled after the divorce. The auntie handed the agreement back and said meaningfully, Miss, go back and get the certificate. Then, you can carefully consider the division of property. Then, let's go back and get the certificate. Jiang Tian said. After dealing with the divorce, he wanted to make a move on Lu Wangfeng. Jiang Tian, you can't wait any longer. Zhao Xueqing was so angry that her body trembled. She could no longer control her emotions. Her head was dizzy and her vision turned black. She fell down. Chapter 30. Xueqing, what's wrong with you? Jiang Tian cried out in surprise, and hurriedly hugged her. A refreshing fragrance wafted into his nose, as if a warm and fragrant jade was in his arms. However, Jiang Tian wasn't in the mood to appreciate it. He quickly carried Zhao Xueqing into the car and drove back to the Times mansion. On the way, Jiang Tian checked on Zhao Xueqing's condition. Her body was weak and anemic. It seemed like she didn't take the small revitalizing pill. After taking the small revitalizing pill, I'll help her tidy up her meridians and cleanse her bones so that she won't fall sick again. Jiang Tian didn't stop there. He helped Zhao Xueqing tidy up her meridians, cleanse her bones, replenish her vitality, and strengthen her body. After feeding Zhao Xueqing the small revitalizing pill, Jiang Tian took off her shirt and let her sit cross-legged behind her. He placed his hands on her back and channeled his ethereal force into her body to help her refine the pill. However, Jiang Tian gradually realized that he wasn't strong enough to refine all the pills and unblock all her meridians. Soon, it was 1:00 in the morning. Jiang Tian suddenly heard a strange noise coming from outside the courtyard. Jiang Tian's heart skipped a beat. He activated his third eye and sneered, "Lu Wangfeng, Wu Chaohui, I was just about to look for you guys. I didn't expect you guys to come here first. Young Master Lu, nothing will happen if we just kill Jiang Tian, right?" Under the shade of a tree outside the villa, Wu Chaohui was in an off-road vehicle with a Shijiang license plate. There are no surveillance cameras in this area. Besides, Jinling will take care of everything. Lu Wangfeng's eyes flashed with a murderous aura. His arm was broken and his face was slapped by Jiang Tian. It was a great humiliation. He couldn't take it. Today, he must kill Jiang Tian. That Jiang Tian is a little strange. I hired 2 fighters from Starlight, but they both failed. Moreover, Conk was also heavily injured by him. Wu Chaohui was still a little worried. I get angry when you mention this. Didn't you say that he had alcohol poisoning? I think it's normal. Lu Wangfeng said angrily. Impossible, he must have been poisoned. Besides, if he wasn't crazy, would he dare to attack you? Wu Chaohui argued. It's possible. This guy should have some brute strength, he's definitely not an expert. Lu Wangfeng pondered for a moment and sneered, besides, so what if he's an expert? Can he block the flintlock? The Torvosaurus and cheetah that he had invited this time were both famous assassins in the underworld. They killed without blinking and would definitely not fail. Tu Long said with a gloomy smile, "Young Master Lu, don't worry. I will definitely do it for you." Tu Long and Cheetah got out of the car and jumped over the courtyard wall and opened the door from the inside. Lu Wangfeng and Wu Chaohui also got out of the car and walked into the courtyard. They wanted to see the scene of Jiang Tian being killed with their own eyes. "Young Master Lu, young Master Wu, you came to visit me so late." Suddenly, a faint voice was heard. The door of the villa opened and Jiang Tian walked out slowly with his hands behind his back. "Don't move. If you move again, I will kill you." Tu Long and Cheetah were shocked. They pulled out their pistols and aimed at Jiang Tian. "Young Master Lu, let's talk nicely. I think you don't want Zhao Xueqing to see you kill someone. It's not good to scare her. Let's talk outside, okay?" Jiang Tian said with a smile. "Okay, then you come out with us." Lu Wangfeng quickly calmed down and sneered. He was relieved. In his opinion, no matter how capable Jiang Tian was, they had guns. What tricks could he play? Moreover, he wanted to humiliate Jiang Tian. It was inconvenient here, so it was better to go to a secluded place. "Okay." Jiang Tian nodded his head and closed the door. He then followed them into the car. Wu Chaohui drove the car and soon arrived at the 100-feet cliff in the suburbs. This place was deserted and desolate. It was the perfect place to kill someone. After getting out of the car, Tu Long and Cheetah pointed their pistols at Jiang Tian. Lu Wangfeng's courage suddenly rose. He looked at Jiang Tian with disdain and said with a smug smile, "Jiang Tian, did you have fun beating me up the other day? Do you regret it now?" "I do regret it. I regret that I didn't slap you to death." Jiang Tian stood with his hands behind his back and smiled faintly. "Motherfucker, you're really a lunatic. You're still so stubborn even when you're about to die." Wu Chaohui was instantly enraged. He raised his leg and kicked towards Jiang Tian's stomach. "Hee, you made me drink alcohol and damaged my brain. Fine, I'll smash your head today." Jiang Tian sneered. He raised his hand and slapped Wu Chaohui's head as if he was swatting a fly. Bang! There was a muffled sound. Wu Chaohui's head exploded like a watermelon. Blood splattered everywhere. His skull and brain matter flew in all directions. The headless corpse fell to the ground with a plop and flew far away. Ah! Lu Wangfeng screamed in fear. He staggered back. Cold sweat flowed down his face like a stream. After all, he was just a young master from a rich family. Although he was good at deceiving others in the business world, it was his first time seeing such a bloody and cruel scene. He knew that the human skull was the hardest. However, it was smashed into pieces by Jiang Tian's slap. Was he still human? He was a demon. Before Lu Wangfeng could give an order, Torvosaurus and Cheetah opened fire at the same time. They pulled the trigger all the way. Bullets were shot out as if they were free. Fortunately, we hired assassins. The 2 million was well spent. If we hired some ordinary thugs, we'd be finished today. Lu Wangfeng smiled proudly when he saw the two of them open fire. These are modern weapons. Who can resist them? He seemed to be able to see Jiang Tian bleeding and his brain being smashed. He could almost see the tragic scene of Jiang Tian dying. However, what happened next scared Lu Wangfeng out of his wits. He sat on the ground and was almost scared to death. Jiang Tian raised his hand and waved. A faint golden light shield appeared in front of him. Outside the light shield, dozens of bronze bullets were suspended in the air. Although it was spinning non-stop and creating circles of ripples in the surroundings, it was unable to push forward at all. Even a gun can't kill him. He's a martial artist. He can release his true chi and condense it into energy. He's a martial arts master. Torvosaurus and Cheetah were so shocked that their faces turned pale. They were in deep despair. The two of them had killed countless people and were famous internationally. They were ruthless people. However, it was their first time meeting such a terrifying existence. Chi refining stage. I'm not afraid of bullets. Jiang Tian raised his hand and picked up the bullets suspended in the air. He sighed leisurely. Master Kong, we surrender. Please spare our lives. Torvosaurus and Cheetah trembled. They were about to kneel and beg for mercy. However, it was too late. Jiang Tian was merciless. He raised his hand and a few bullets were shot out at a speed faster than the speed of a barrel. Blood danced in the air as the bullets penetrated their bodies. Jiang Tian, please spare my life. I'm willing to be your slave for the rest of my life. I'm willing to be your dog. Lu Wangfeng could no longer control the fear in his heart. He knelt on the ground and kowtowed as if he was pounding garlic with his head. I can't believe that you've lost all your killing intent and have become a pet. Looking at the enemy from his previous life kneeling and begging for mercy like a loyal dog, Jiang Tian was delighted. Yes, yes, yes. You're my grandfather, I don't want to have an unfilial descendant like you. I was wrong, I was wrong. You're my master. I'm willing to be your loyal dog and follow you for the rest of my life. If you have any orders, I won't hesitate. The pungent smell of blood wafted over. Lu Wangfeng thought that he might die an unnatural death. He felt cold all over and spoke with a sobbing tone. Unfortunately, when my sword is unsheathed, it will always return with fresh blood. I'm not here to scare kids. Jiang Tian pulled out a tactical dagger from Torvosaurus and approached him with his hands behind his back. He sneered and said, and you, Lu Wangfeng, are just an ant. How are you qualified to be my dog? Please don't do this. Lu Wangfeng used his knees to move back step by step, but Jiang Tian still grabbed his neck and lifted him up like an eagle grabbing a chick. He immediately realized that his death was imminent. His pale face became even paler. His face was filled with fear and he kept begging. In your previous life, when Xueqing was begging for mercy in front of you, did you ever think of letting her go? In your previous life, when you broke Shen Li's legs, did you ever think of letting him off? In this life, you poisoned and assassinated. Didn't you also treat other people's lives as ants? The heavens are clear, and retribution is not good. Since you think that you have the ability to cover the sky with one hand, be arrogant and despotic, treat other people's lives as grass, and make the law become a toy in your hands, then I'll let you see what is called true ruthlessness. I'll use the butcher's knife in my hand to cut open your flesh and use your blood to wash away the humiliation of that life. I'll use your blood to pay tribute to my friends who died in that life. Jiang Tian's eyes were cold. With a flip of his hand, the dagger that shone with a cold light directly slashed between Lu Wangfeng's legs. Slash! Ah! Lu Wangfeng screamed in pain. His crotch was covered in blood, and his manhood fell to the ground. This is the price you have to pay for insulting Xueqing in your previous life. Jiang Tian's eyes were cold, like a demon looking down at an ant. Jiang Tian, how dare you treat me like this? Aren't you afraid of being punished by the law? Behind me are the 3 big families of Jinling. Lu Wangfeng threatened in a moment of desperation. This was his only chance. Perhaps the 3 big families of Jinling could scare off Jiang Tian. Hee, if the family heads of the 3 families were in front of me, I would have killed them already. Jiang Tian's eyes were filled with contempt. He twisted Lu Wangfeng's neck and broke it. Crack! Lu Wangfeng fell to the ground. His neck bent into a strange angle, and he was dead. Lin Zhou's first-tier young master, the Lu family's crown prince, the first successor, Lu Wangfeng, dead. His eyes were still wide open, as if he couldn't believe that he died in such a tragic way. Jiang Tian loaded the 4 corpses into the off-road vehicle. After that, Jiang Tian kicked the off-road vehicle into the abyss below the cliff. At the same time, he shot out a fireball talisman, and the vehicle instantly burst into flames. Hee, even if the police found out, they would think that it was a car accident, or that Torvosaurus and Lu Wangfeng were robbers and murderers. Jiang Tian sneered and walked down the mountain. Jiang Tian used 1,000 miles godly travel talisman on his legs, and his speed was extremely fast. Soon, he arrived at the city and headed toward the Lu family's mansion. Wu Chaohui and Lu Wangfeng deserved to die, but their parents were no exception. The 2 of them had committed heinous crimes in their previous lives, but their parents didn't teach them anything. Instead, they condoned and protected them. Jiang Tian even suspected that the family heads of the Lu and Wu families had supported the 2 of them from the beginning to form an alliance with Jinling, and helped to plan or execute it. They had to pay the price in blood. Chapter 31. Sigh, I wonder if Wangfeng and Chaohui's plan will succeed. In the living room of the Lu family mansion, the head of the Lu family and the head of the Wu family were having a discussion. Their wives were also present. Brother, don't worry. That Jiang Tian has already been poisoned by Chaohui and turned into a lunatic. Wu Chaohui's mother said. He was originally an ignorant and incompetent piece of trash. How can he be compared to our son? That's right. His brain is damaged. He's at the mercy of others. There's no way he can win. The 4 of them drank the fragrant tea and laughed wantonly together. As expected, Jiang Tian had guessed correctly. As soon as he reached the Lu family mansion, he heard the 4 of them talking so arrogantly. Hee, in my previous life, you poisoned his brain and turned him into a lunatic. It's not too much to return it to you. Jiang Tian's eyes were cold. He quickly killed the 5 armed bodyguards and killed his way into the living room. However, Jiang Tian did not kill them all this time. He only injured the heads of the 4 people, turning them into complete idiots. Sometimes, killing people was not the best way to vent hatred. Wouldn't it be better to let them live miserably like dogs or beggars? After doing all this, Jiang Tian took away a few valuable items and messed up the house. He pretended to be fighting for money and left the mansion in a hurry. In the process of escaping, Jiang Tian purposely used a secret technique to let the mansion's surveillance camera capture the side of his face after changing his appearance. Then, he flew out and dodged all the surveillance cameras. In the blink of an eye, he disappeared into the dark night. It was already 2 o'clock in the morning when he returned to the mansion. Jiang Tian felt refreshed after getting his revenge. Zhao Xueqing was still unconscious. Jiang Tian changed into a new set of clothes and went to the bedroom to continue conditioning Zhao Xueqing's body. One by one, he pierced Zhao Xueqing's major acupuncture points. Jiang Tian's ethereal force flowed through the silver needles and into her body as if it was free. It became a supreme nourishment. Why is this girl's physique so strange? Could it be the legendary physique? But to Jiang Tian's surprise, Zhao Xueqing's body seemed to be incomparably hollow. When he poured in his true essence, it was like a clay ox entering the sea, immediately disappearing. After a long period of true essence output, Jiang Tian felt extremely weak. Steam rose from his body, and hot sweat flowed down his body. It was as if he had taken a hot bath, and his body was on the verge of collapse. Even if his body is weak, he shouldn't be this weak. Jiang Tian took off the clothes that were in the way and felt puzzled. Logically speaking, with Jiang Tian's current cultivation, it was still insufficient for him to smoothly complete the bone marrow cleansing of Zhao Xueqing. But he was too worried about Zhao Xueqing's body. Jiang Tian only had one thought in his mind: even if he had to cripple all of his cultivation, he had to cure this poor girl. Qi! Qi! One by one, the silver needles pierced into Jiang Tian's sea of qi. He could only use acupuncture to stimulate his cultivation, boil his blood, and forcibly use it. This kind of secret technique was also very harmful to Jiang Tian's cultivation, but Jiang Tian simply couldn't care about anything else at this time. Ha! Jiang Tian let out a roar like a wild beast, and the meridians all over his body swelled, and blue veins appeared. His eyes flashed with a red light, and finally became crimson red. And the last strand of true essence that was scattered in his body also gathered in his sea of qi, and majestically rushed out. At this time, Jiang Tian's pair of flesh palms actually turned red in an instant, showing a strange translucent state, and the finger bones were clearly visible. Done! After another hard work, Jiang Tian felt that Zhao Xueqing's meridians and acupoints were all opened, and the impurities were also expelled. His heart relaxed, but he spat out a mouthful of blood, leaving streaks of red on the bed, like the blooming of winter plum blossoms, which was a ghastly sight. Then, Jiang Tian's head became dizzy, and his vision turned black. Like a towering tree that was cut in half, he fainted on the bed. The sky was bright, and Zhao Xueqing woke up in a daze, rubbing her aching head. She only remembered that she fainted and was carried into the car by Jiang Tian. After that, she couldn't remember anything else. When she opened her eyes, she saw Jiang Tian lying on her body, almost naked, and the bed was stained with blood. Jiang Tian, you beast, what did you do to me? Zhao Xueqing felt as if she had fallen into an ice cave, and her whole body was cold. She suddenly sat up and kicked Jiang Tian awake. You're awake, how do you feel? Jiang Tian woke up, raised his head with difficulty, and smiled weakly. How do I feel? How can I feel? You beast, we're already divorced, and you still want to take advantage of me. You're forcing me. Zhao Xueqing put on her pajamas and jumped off the bed as if she was avoiding snakes and scorpions. She pointed at Jiang Tian and screamed angrily, You're not human, do you want my whole life to be ruined by your hands? Haven't you harmed me enough, Xueqing? Don't misunderstand, I was just helping you recuperate. Look, there are still silver needles. Jiang Tian got up with difficulty, put on his shirt, and pointed at the silver needles on the bed. You shameless bastard, do you think I'll believe your nonsense? Zhao Xueqing didn't listen, and picked up a baseball bat, and viciously smashed it at Jiang Tian's head. Jiang Tian tilted his head, and the baseball bat hit his chin. Now that he was extremely weak, even a 7 or 8-year-old child could push him down, let alone an adult. Jiang Tian's body tilted, and his head knocked against the corner of the bedside table. He felt a warm stream of blood flowing down his chin, and he raised his hand to touch a handful of blood. Seeing the blood, Zhao Xueqing was frightened, and didn't say anything. She only held the baseball bat with both hands, afraid that Jiang Tian would go crazy and hit her again. Jiang Tian saw that her face was pale from fright, and his heart was filled with sorrow and pain. In her eyes, he was still that scum. He supported himself against the wall and stood up, and said with a silly smile, "Xueqing, don't be nervous, I won't hurt you. Hurry up and scram." Zhao Xueqing was on guard, afraid that Jiang Tian would come again with bad intentions. "Right, this is a protective jade talisman, you must wear it often, and it can protect you for life." Jiang Tian took out a jade talisman bracelet and handed it to Zhao Xueqing. "I don't want your dirty things." Zhao Xueqing grabbed the jade talisman bracelet, broke it, and threw the jade beads into the trash outside the door. "I've consulted a lawyer, and with the divorce agreement, I don't have to be there to sign it, and you can get the divorce certificate. I'm leaving, and I won't bother you anymore." Jiang Tian bitterly laughed, and holding onto the wall, he walked out step by step, and his hand left a shocking bloody handprint on the wall. "Jiang Tian." Zhao Xueqing muttered in a daze. She didn't even know why she called his name. Was it because she was reluctant to part with him? But how was that possible? But at this moment, she felt that Jiang Tian's back was so lonely, bleak, and lonely. In the time she was in a daze, Jiang Tian had already disappeared from the door, and when she walked out, she didn't see Jiang Tian's figure. "He's gone, he's finally gone, but why am I not happy at all?" Zhao Xueqing sat on the sofa and burst into tears. It took her a lot of effort to calm down. Zhao Xueqing carefully felt her body, and she didn't feel any discomfort. Instead, she felt energetic and refreshed. Did he not hurt me, and was really treating me? Looking at the scattered silver needles on the bed, Zhao Xueqing was suspicious. But then she shook her head. How is that possible? He's ignorant and doesn't know anything about medicine. Zhao Xueqing drove to Zhao's pharmaceutical factory, and just as she arrived at the office, she heard Zhou Liwen say, "Professor Li is back, he just came downstairs. Ask him to come to my office." Zhao Xueqing rubbed her temples. Jiang Tian's matter gave her a headache, and there seemed to be some unsolved mysteries. "There's no need to invite me, I'm already here." A tired voice sounded, and Professor Li pushed the door open and entered. Professor Li was a Chinese medicine professor at Yenjing Pharmaceutical University, and he was also a Changjiang scholar. He was famous in the country, and he was also the laboratory director hired by Zhao's pharmaceutical factory. He wore a pair of gold-rimmed glasses, a tang suit, and soft-soled cloth shoes. He had an elegant temperament, and he had the demeanor of a scholar. "Professor Li, please take a seat, Xiao Zhou will make tea." Zhao Xueqing asked Professor Li to sit on the sofa with a happy face. "Miss Xiao, I'm sorry, I've been in seclusion for a week, and I'm afraid I can't help with the improvement of the muscle-nourishing ointment. I can't solve the problem of the side effects." Professor Li sat up straight and said to Zhao Xueqing with a regretful face. "Professor Li, are you kidding me?" Zhao Xueqing was surprised. "You've already tested the improved prescription." "That's impossible. There are still problems with the modified prescription. The side effects are still there." Professor Li couldn't help but smile bitterly. "Although I don't want to admit it, I've been thinking about it carefully these days. There are 2 herbs in this prescription that are fundamentally conflicting. I can't improve them, so I can only start over. Professor Li, look, this prescription is really successful." Zhao Xueqing handed over a thick stack of documents, including the experimental plan and the results. Yes, it's all correct. Why didn't I think of this?" Professor Li flipped through the information and was stunned. Suddenly, his face became extremely excited as he exclaimed, "This prescription is simply perfect. Professor Li, isn't this your plan?" Zhao Xueqing and Zhou Liwen looked at each other, not knowing what was going on. "Ha ha ha, I see. I understand now." Suddenly, Professor Li slapped his thigh and shouted excitedly, which shocked Zhao Xueqing and the others. Professor Li quickly finished reading the experimental plan and stood up. He grabbed Zhao Xueqing's shoulder and said excitedly, Miss Zhao, who was the one who made this prescription? You must introduce him to me. This person's understanding of Chinese medicine is so profound that it's at the peak of perfection. I want to be his disciple. Zhao Xueqing felt a sharp pain in her shoulder and said in a trembling voice, Professor Li, didn't you make this prescription? No, I didn't make this. I should say that these printed parts were done by me, but the handwritten part was not written by me. Could it be him? Zhao Xueqing's head was buzzing and her face was pale. She suddenly remembered that morning, Jiang Tian was holding the experimental document and seemed to be writing and drawing. Could it be that he was the one who modified the prescription? However, he was crazy. How could he have medical skills? This was too strange. Professor Li said eagerly, Miss Zhao, who is this expert? Tell me quickly. Chapter 32. Professor Li, I'm sorry. My friend is a loner and doesn't like to socialize. Zhao Xueqing could only shirk the responsibility. Also, he's not in Linzhou recently, and I've lost contact with him. That's too bad. Hearing this, Professor Li felt as if a bucket of cold water had been poured over him. He sat down on the ground and hung his head dejectedly. Professor Li, can this prescription be mass-produced now? Zhou Liwen interrupted and asked. Of course. Just produce according to this prescription. I guarantee that there won't be any problems. Professor Li exclaimed in admiration. The person who can make this prescription must be a genius in the field of medicine. He must have a perfect grasp of the medicinal properties of the medicine. It can be said that in the whole of Huaxia, there are only a handful of people who can reach this level. Unfortunately, I don't have the chance to see it. That's great. Zhou Liwen was excited. Suddenly, Zhao Xueqing's heart skipped a beat. She took out a medicine bottle from her bag and found the small revitalizing pill. She said, Professor Li, this pill was also made by him. What do you think? Although he was far away, Professor Li could already smell a refreshing fragrance. He found a pair of rubber gloves and put them on. He carefully took it in his hand and looked at it carefully. This is not an ordinary pill. It's an elixir. Suddenly, Professor Li trembled with excitement and said in a trembling voice. What? Elixir? Zhao Xueqing was puzzled. Yes, elixir. This is an elixir. Professor Li was so excited that he almost burst into tears. He said in a trembling voice, alchemy refers to the creation and application of the method of heating and refining medicine since the Warring States period. We are the earliest in the world. Medicinal pills seize the power of heaven and earth. Consuming them can cure all diseases and strengthen the body. It can even make one immortal and become immortal. Qin Shi Huang was obsessed with it his whole life. When Guhong reached the peak in the Eastern Jin dynasty, it was said that Guhong swallowed an elixir and became an immortal. Although this elixir doesn't reach the legendary peak effect, it's definitely a real elixir. I never thought that I would be able to see a real medicinal pill in my lifetime. Professor Li was so excited that he beat his chest and stamped his feet. I was wrong. I was so wrong. Zhao Xueqing was stunned, and her scalp went numb. She could now confirm that Jiang Tian was not crazy, or that he had indeed recovered. He seemed to have really been treating her injuries last night. The blood and sweat must have been left behind by him. Professor Li left. For the whole morning, Zhao Xueqing felt lost. She frowned. She had too many mysteries. In the afternoon, the secretary suddenly knocked on the door and entered. Director Zhao, a lady named Lu Yiting is here to see you. She says she's Jiang Tian's classmate, let her in. Zhao Xueqing's delicate body suddenly trembled. Perhaps he had news of Jiang Tian. Hello, Miss Zhao. I'm the boss of Beautiful Heaven, Lu Yiting. The moment Lu Yiting saw Zhao Xueqing, she immediately exclaimed in her heart. This woman was too beautiful. Lu Yiting was confident that her appearance was first class, but compared to Zhao Xueqing, she was still far behind. How did you find me? Zhao Xueqing asked. Oh, I'm Jiang Tian's classmate. We had a class reunion a few days ago. He didn't have a phone, so he left your phone number. Lu Yiting said, I came here to ask and found out that it was yours. The reason I came to find Jiang Tian is to express my gratitude. Oh. Thank him for what? Zhao Xueqing asked absent-mindedly. Jiang Tian's silly, flattering smile kept floating in front of her, and she couldn't get rid of it. He gave me a prescription. Who would have thought that after I tested it, the effect was amazing. When I went to apply for a patent, someone said that this prescription was worth at least tens of millions. Lu Yiting said excitedly. According to Jiang Tian's prescription, after the customers used the medicine, their skin immediately became like a new life. Now the beauty shop sold millions of membership cards every day. They walked out of the predicament and soared into the sky. He's better, so he's really better, but I drove him away. Zhao Xueqing's pretty face twisted, she didn't know whether to laugh or cry. What? You drove Jiang Tian out? Jiang Tian is so good, how can you do this? Lu Yiting suddenly became angry. I'm sorry, it's my fault. Zhao Xueqing's eyes were red, and her eyes were empty. Lu Yiting smiled a little unnaturally and said, Miss Zhao, where is Jiang Tian? This prescription is too precious, I want to give half of the beauty shop's shares to him, and run it together. It's just that I don't have his contact information at all. I can't find him, so I can only come to you. Where is he? Since the last time she parted with Jiang Tian, Lu Yiting couldn't forget about Jiang Tian. He brought too much shock to Lu Yiting. Moreover, she recalled that when she was by Jiang Tian's side, she always had a kind of fresh and happy feeling, and especially felt at ease, so she couldn't wait to see Jiang Tian. How would I know where he is? He said that he left, and will never come back. Zhao Xueqing's heart was sorrowful, and her eyes were red, but she didn't cry. However, feeling Lu Yiting's closeness to Jiang Tian, Zhao Xueqing suddenly felt a sense of crisis, and also a sense of pride. She raised her head and firmly said, Jiang Tian is not here right now. Actually, I am Jiang Tian's lover, didn't he tell you? So that's the case. Lu Yiting's heart trembled, and she forced a smile and said, no wonder that day when we wanted to ask him to stay and talk for a while, he only wanted to go home to accompany you, afraid that you would be angry. She was a little embarrassed, she actually revealed her feelings for Jiang Tian in front of his wife. He only wants to go home to accompany me. Afraid that I would be angry? Zhao Xueqing listened in a daze, and her heart actually felt warm. It was as if he could suddenly receive a call from Jiang Tian, and hear that familiar voice, wife, I'll go home right away. He's afraid that I would be angry. I'm very scary in his heart. Zhao Xueqing muttered to herself, and suddenly burst out laughing. This guy must have let it slip. But after laughing, he suddenly remembered that he had scolded Jiang Tian these past few days. He even hit him on the head this morning. Did he go to the hospital to bandage his head? Would there be any sequelae? Miss Zhao, I'll be leaving first. When Jiang Tian comes back, I'll have to trouble you to pass on my gratitude to him. Seeing that Zhao Xueqing was absent-minded, Lu Yiting felt a little awkward, so she got up and left. At night, Zhao Xueqing returned to the Times mansion. When she opened the door, she did not see Jiang Tian's familiar figure. Suddenly, there was a series of urgent knocks on the door. Zhao Qianru said with a face full of joy, Sis, there's great news. What great news? Zhao Xueqing said listlessly. Lu Wangfeng and Wu Chaohui's house was robbed, and their parents were beaten into a vegetative state. The two of them were held hostage by two wanted criminals, and they fell off the cliff. Their car caught fire and burned to death. Zhao Qianru said excitedly, this is great, Lu Wangfeng will never have the chance to harass you again. Oh, Lu Wangfeng is dead, Zhao Xueqing felt relieved, but when she thought about Jiang Tian leaving, she did not feel happy at all. At this time, the doorbell suddenly rang, and Zhao Xueqing quickly went to open the door. Two policemen came in and asked, "Miss Zhao, did you hear anything at 1:00 in the morning yesterday?" "No, what's wrong?" Zhao Xueqing did not understand. "Oh, it's like this. Yesterday, 2 robbers took 2 hostages and drove near your residence." The policeman smiled and said, "We were worried that they might have committed other crimes, so we came over to investigate. Since they didn't, it's best. But please be careful and lock the doors and windows." The policeman left, but for some reason, Zhao Xueqing felt uneasy. Suddenly, she ran to a utility room upstairs, turned on the video surveillance, and played it in fast-forward mode. The camera was facing the door, and suddenly, the scene on the screen almost made Zhao Xueqing scream. 2 strong men actually climbed over the wall and opened the door, letting Lu Wangfeng and Wu Chaohui in. Seeing the pistols in their hands, Zhao Xueqing's scalp tingled, and she knew that they were up to no good without thinking. This Lu Wangfeng was too scary, too crazy. Zhao Xueqing was scared. It seemed that Jiang Tian was telling the truth. He might have really poisoned her that time with bad intentions. If Jiang Tian had not stopped him, what kind of tragedy would have happened to her? She really did not dare to think about it. Zhao Xueqing quickly clicked on the mouse to play the video normally. Then, Jiang Tian walked out of the villa and talked to them. After a while, they dragged Jiang Tian out of the villa. "Child Lu, let's talk nicely. I think you don't want Zhao Xueqing to see you kill someone, right? It's not good to scare her. Let's talk outside, okay?" Hearing Jiang Tian's words, Zhao Xueqing's tears rolled down, and she covered her mouth to suppress her sobs. 2 pistols were pointed at him, and he was in a dangerous situation, but he was still worried about whether he would scare her. They fell off the cliff, but Jiang Tian came back the next day. This must be Jiang Tian's doing. I can't let anyone find out. Zhao Xueqing's heart almost jumped out of her throat. She opened the computer case and removed the hard drive, then found a hammer and smashed the hard drive into pieces. "Sis, what are you doing? We were just talking, why did you run away?" Zhao Qianru walked in and saw Zhao Xueqing's expression. She immediately supported her and said in shock, "Sis, why is your face so scary? You're even sweating so much. Are you sick?" "I'm fine, help me downstairs." Zhao Xueqing shook her head and gasped for breath. When they arrived downstairs, Zhao Xueqing suddenly had an idea. She found Jiang Tian's backpack and took out a bottle of coconut juice, and said, "Qianru, go to the company and find an experimenter to do a poison analysis." "Ah. There's poison in it. What's going on?" Zhao Qianru was puzzled. "Don't worry about it, hurry up and go," Zhao Xueqing urged. Zhao Qianru quickly left. Zhao Qianru sat on the sofa in a daze, waiting. In only half an hour, Zhao Qianru hurried back. "Sis, it's really poisonous. It's called Spanish fly water. It's extremely poisonous. It's said that it can make people lose their minds and have the effect of stimulating lust." "He's not crazy, he's not crazy, he's fine." Zhao Qianru was stunned for a long time, then suddenly burst into tears. "He hit Lu Wangfeng to protect me, but I actually treated him as a lunatic. He was trying to protect me." Chapter 33. "Sis, why are you crying? Are you talking about brother-in-law? Where is he?" Zhao Qianru didn't know the inside story and was completely confused. "He's gone. He's never coming back. We're divorced." Zhao Xueqing sobbed. "You actually divorced brother-in-law? Why? Do you know? In order to protect me, Jiang Tian fought with Zhou Zhenghao. Dozens of strong men surrounded him with knives. When Zhao Qianru heard this, she was so angry that her face turned green. "He protected me because of you. You let him leave just like that? He hasn't even received his salary and is penniless. How is he going to survive? Auntie gave him 1,000,000 yuan. I think it should be enough for him to live for a while, right? Zhao Xueqing stopped crying and said. At this moment, Zhao Xueqing's phone rang. It was Wei Fang. Xueqing, have you and Jiang Tian gotten a divorce? If it's done, we'll unfreeze that 1,000,000 bank card. What? Was that bank card frozen in the past? Zhao Xueqing asked in surprise. Of course, if he took the money and didn't get a divorce, wouldn't we suffer a huge loss? Wei Fang said disdainfully. It's frozen. Zhao Xueqing threw away her phone and opened Jiang Tian's backpack to search. In Jiang Tian's backpack, there were a few pieces of jade, a carving knife, and some yellow paper and cinnabar. Very quickly, she found the bank card. Holding the bank card, Zhao Xueqing's jade-like hands trembled. She was so ashamed that she wanted to find a hole to hide in. Then, she found a property certificate for the Times mansion, but the owner of the house had already been changed to her name. All along, she had thought that Jiang Tian was a greedy person. The reason why he divorced her was for this 1,000,000 yuan. But in fact, Jiang Tian didn't touch a single cent and even gave her the house. It could be said that he gave her everything. But, Jiang Tian didn't have any money, so how did he live these few days? Where did the money come from? Jiang Tian, come back. Zhao Xueqing hugged her backpack, her delicate body trembling. Suddenly, a certificate and several receipts fell to the ground. She picked it up and looked at it. Her head buzzed and her face instantly turned pale. She almost fell to the ground. Blood donation certificate, for nutrition vouchers, 500 each, a total of 2,000. It was exactly the money he used to repair his car. At that time, she had despised him for being stingy and greedy, but he had sold his blood in exchange for that. Sister, what happened to you? Zhao Qianru hurriedly supported Zhao Xueqing and asked with concern. Ah! Jiang Tian, come back quickly. I don't want money, house, or bracelets. I want you. At this moment, Zhao Xueqing felt as if her heart was being torn into pieces. The world was spinning, and her cries were like the cries of an injured little beast. She clenched the receipts and blood donation certificates tightly, hugged Jiang Tian's backpack, and burst into tears. She cried loudly. Those memories, Jiang Tian's fawning smile, were like clear slides, replaying in front of Zhao Xueqing's eyes. It was so beautiful, yet so heartbreaking. Xueqing, you have to believe me. As long as you check it, you will understand. Alright, don't say any more. I'm so annoyed with you now. You can't do anything right. He beat up Lu Wangfeng to protect himself, but he thought that Lu Wangfeng had gone mad, so he scolded and mocked him. We're going to get a divorce. It's not convenient for me to stay at home. I'll stay at Emperor Club so that you won't bother me. If there's anything, you can find me there. Yes, now that you have 1,000,000, you're considered rich. Don't you want to enjoy it? Alright, go ahead. He left his bank card and property to her, but she thought that he was greedy for money. Xueqing, don't misunderstand. I was helping you recuperate just now. Look, there are silver needles, you shameless person. Do you think I'll believe your nonsense? In order to treat her, he was so tired that he vomited blood, but she hit him with a baseball bat, causing his head to bleed. By the way, this is a protective jade talisman. You must wear it often. It can protect you for life. I don't want your dirty things. He was penniless and had to sell his blood. He even bought jade to make a bracelet for himself. However, she tore the bracelet into pieces and threw it into the trash can. She even spent 2,000 yuan that he sold his blood for to repair her car. Memories flashed through her mind. Zhao Xueqing felt as if her heart had been hollowed out. She was heartbroken and full of regret. Hot tears rolled down like a broken thread and dripped on the blood donation certificate, blurring the words. At this moment, her phone rang again. It was Wei Fang. Zhao Qianru said, "Sister, pick it up." Zhao Xueqing wiped her tears and picked up the phone. Wei Fang said, "Hurry up and settle the divorce procedures. I will never divorce Jiang Tian." Her voice was cold, like the sound of a sword. Zhao Xueqing had always resigned herself to adversity, but at this moment, she was determined. "What? You want to rebel? You don't even listen to your parents' orders. Jiang Tian is just a good-for-nothing, a lunatic." Zhao Huqing's angry voice came through. "He's not a good-for-nothing, nor is he a lunatic. In the future, no one is allowed to call him a good-for-nothing or a lunatic. Otherwise, don't blame me for falling out with you." Zhao Xueqing hung up the phone. Zhao Huqing and Wei Fang only used her as a bargaining chip to exchange benefits. That was why they married her to Jiang Tian, a good-for-nothing who had been abandoned by his family. Now that they thought that Jiang Tian had no value, they wanted to sell her again. All these years, no one had ever cared about her life or death. If it weren't for her sister, she would have even forgotten that she was a member of the Zhao family. Now, she was extremely disappointed in her family. She wanted to control her own destiny. She wanted to stand firmly with Jiang Tian. "Sister, I support you." Dad and Mom underestimated Jiang Tian. "He's not an ordinary person." Zhao Qianru encouraged. She saw the change in her sister. She was no longer weak and easy to bully. She was very happy with her sister's change. "What happened on the night you and Jiang Tian went to see Fatty Cheng?" Zhao Xueqing asked about Jiang Tian for the first time. She was very curious about Jiang Tian's change. "Sister, you don't know how impressive brother-in-law was that night," Zhao Qianru said excitedly. Listening to her, Zhao Xueqing suddenly stood up and said, "Qianru, help me. I want to find the bracelet that Jiang Tian left for me. There should be 8 beads. Mr. Jiang, you're here." In the entertainment department of the Imperial Group, Zhou Zhenghao quickly greeted Jiang Tian with a face full of awe. He had already learned that Lu Wangfeng and Wu Chaohui had been kidnapped and fell off the cliff and burned into charcoal. Their parents had also been beaten into a vegetative state. Combined with the information that Jiang Tian had asked him about the two, he could immediately determine that it was Jiang Tian's doing. That was the Lu family and the Wu family. In Linzhou, they were second only to the Tang family. They could even wrestle with his boss, Dragon V. Moreover, the Lu family had always been heavily guarded. There were many armed bodyguards, but they were still taken care of by Jiang Tian. Jiang Tian was too heaven-defying. He really had the demeanor of a fierce general who took the head of an army of 10,000 in ancient times. He was scared. Fortunately, Brother Wei came to mediate in time that day. Otherwise, if he had made a grudge, he was afraid that his end would be even more miserable than the Lu family and the Wu family. "Boss Zhou, you've worked hard." Jiang Tian nodded. Seeing that he had done a good job, he gave him a smile. "It's my pleasure. Please come in." Zhou Zhenghao was flattered. He cupped his fist and said. Jiang Tian was like an immortal, but he had never thought that he could be so approachable. Zhou Zhenghao prepared a banquet and chatted with Jiang Tian as they ate. Flattery flowed like a tide as he flattered the heavens. He kept calling Jiang Tian Grandmaster Jiang, and treated him like a god. However, Jiang Tian was a little absent-minded. His gaze was deep as he considered his next move. Now that he had taken care of the Lu family and the Wu family, Zhao Xueqing would be safe for the time being. However, the Jiang family of Jin City was still in danger. Judging from the appearance of the conch, the 3 major families of Jin City should have ancient martial arts forces and even transcendent state warriors. Jiang Tian was powerful enough to take care of an internal force user, but he was not sure if he could defeat a transcendent state warrior, especially a transcendent state warrior. Jiang Tian had returned to Jin City, but he would not be of much help. Therefore, Zhou Zhenghao should focus on increasing his power and gathering his own forces. Halfway through the wine, Jiang Tian suddenly asked, Boss Shou, do you know anything about martial arts? Do you know where I can find some resources? Martial arts is a mysterious existence. I am just an ordinary person. How would I know a real martial artist? Zhou Zhenghao shook his head with a wry smile. He then lowered his voice and said, however, I do know a good place for cultivation resources. Where? Snakehead Town in Myanmar. They are preparing for a small Dharma artifact exchange. Zhou Zhenghao said. Myanmar? That's so far away. How did you get in touch with them? Jiang Tian asked. Master Kong, do you know Lord Dragon V? Zhou Zhenghao rose to his feet and poured Jiang Tian a cup of Maotai. I have heard of him. Jiang Tian raised the cup and took a sip. Dragon V was the king of the underworld in Linzhou City. He was as powerful as the third lord of the Tang family. He owned the Longwei Group, which controlled dozens of nightclubs and a mining company. He had a monopoly on the mining industry in Linzhou City and was worth over 10 billion yuan. Compared to the Black Shark, the famous star's splendor in Linzhou City was like an ant. Speaking of which, I am Lord Dragon V's little brother. I used to be the leader of the Longwei gang. Zhou Zhenghao said sulkily. However, Lord Dragon V had offended an enemy. This enemy was originally just an ordinary person, but somehow, he managed to cultivate into a martial arts expert. He's so powerful that he's unparalleled. He shook his head and sighed. Half a year ago, he challenged Lord Dragon V and injured a lot of martial arts masters. Even Tiger's arm was broken. Lord Dragon V felt uneasy, so he went to Snakehead Town in Myanmar. Right now, the entire Dragon Might Association is covered in dirt and grime, losing all face. Snakehead Town is indeed a good place to go. Jiang Tian smirked. Snakehead Town was located at the border between Huaxia and Myanmar. It was a lawless place. Dragon V had probably gathered some armed forces there to save his life. However, what could he do when he encountered a real martial arts master? That master is very powerful. He defeated Tiger with one move. Zhou Zhenghao exclaimed. Although Tiger is not a martial arts master, he is definitely one of the best fighters in the world. He was able to defeat a few special forces soldiers. It seems that his enemy is quite powerful. Jiang Tian lightly nodded, his gaze deep. Yes, Lord Dragon V had gathered a lot of heavenly materials and earthly treasures as a reward. He wanted to invite all the martial arts masters in the world to help him kill his enemy. That was why this Dharma artifact exchange was held. In other words, as long as anyone can kill this enemy, those heavenly materials and earthly treasures will belong to that person. Jiang Tian suddenly became interested. Chapter 34. That's right. Zhou Zhenghao nodded. Come with me. Jiang Tian said without hesitation. In fact, Jiang Tian was not interested in the fight for power in Linzhou. It was like watching a bunch of ants fighting over a few grains of rice. However, the case of Lu Wangfeng and Wu Chaohui had not been closed yet. Going to Myanmar could help him hide for a while. Besides, he might even be able to find some heavenly materials and earthly treasures. Great! With Grandmaster Zhang's cultivation, you'll definitely be able to defeat that expert. Zhou Zhenghao said excitedly. This was exactly what he wanted. 3 days later, in Yunnan province, a luxurious imported Mercedes-Benz SUV was speeding along the highway to Snakehead Town. The driver was a seductive woman in a red dress with exquisite makeup. In the back seat, a tall man in branded clothes was chatting with a handsome young man in ordinary clothes. It was Jiang Tian. The Dharma artifact exchange was still a few days away, so Jiang Tian was not in a hurry. He slowly drove south and would get out of the car to have a look at the scenic spots. After 3 days, they finally arrived at Yunnan province. Looking at the beautiful scenery along the way, Jiang Tian's depressed feelings from his divorce with Zhao Shueqing slowly dissipated. The seductive woman driving was Sister Dong Dong. Jiang Tian was also speechless about this. Sister Dong Dong was like a fan meeting her idol when she saw him. She insisted on following him. This time, we're not going to play around. We're going to fight and kill. Maybe someone will die. Blood will be spilled. Zhou Zhenghao warned. Hee, what's there to be afraid of? Master Kong is extremely powerful. Who can defeat him? Your fights are better than Hollywood blockbusters. Sister Dong Dong did not listen to Qin Fan at all. Jiang Tian did not know whether to laugh or cry. However, with Sister Dong Dong taking care of him, Jiang Tian was able to save a lot of trouble. Jiang Tian had always been an aloof person. Zhou Zhenghao was also used to being a hands-off boss. Usually, if there was anything, she would ask Sister Dong Dong to do. Sister Dong Dong was born at the bottom of society and became a celebrity and a professional manager. She was good at welcoming guests, booking hotels, restaurants, choosing scenic spots, and booking tickets. She was very handy, which made Jiang Tian very happy. After the off-road vehicle got off the highway, the road suddenly became bumpy. On both sides were lofty mountains, steep cliffs, towering trees, and vines as thick as a small arm. It was as if they had entered a wild world. Sister Dong Dong's driving skills were very good. From time to time, she would drive the four-wheeled vehicle into the air and sped towards Shitao Ridge. It was already evening when they arrived at Shitu Ridge. This was a border town under the jurisdiction of Myanmar. It was located at the junction of Myanmar, Vietnam, and Huaxia. It had a population of tens of thousands. The buildings were dilapidated, the law and order were chaotic, the crooks were mixed in with the honest folk, casinos were everywhere, and drugs were rampant. Jiang Tian even saw a few children of 7 or 8 years old, bare-chested, running up and down the street with rifles. The off-road vehicle stopped in front of a luxurious manor that was slightly out of place compared to other buildings. The manor had red walls and green tiles. It was antique, richly ornamented, and there was also a 9 dragons wall. Master Kong, this is Dragon Fifth's villa. Zhou Zhenghao got out of the car and bowed to Jiang Tian as he led him in. Brother Hao, you're here. A middle-aged man in a silk shirt greeted them with a happy face while clasping his fists. The man was in his 30s, with a parted hair and a pair of gold-rimmed glasses. He looked elegant and smart. This is Lord Dragon Fifth's eldest son, the general manager of Longwei Group, President Long Gai Tian. Just call him Young Master Long. Zhou Zhenghao explained with a happy face, Young Master Long, this is Master Kong, the new rising star in Linzhou. He's very powerful and has a good relationship with the Tang family. He's also here to help. Master Kong, nice to meet you. Young Master Long shook hands with Jiang Tian, but there was a hint of disdain in his eyes. Jiang Tian was wearing a dirty shirt and old leather shoes. He looked like an ordinary worker. Moreover, his face was a little pale, and he looked like he had no strength to truss a chicken. He didn't have the domineering and murderous aura of the masters he usually saw. Where was the demeanor of a master? Another swindler. Young Master Long sighed in disappointment. As the president of Longwei Group, Long Gai Tian was Dragon Fifth's favorite son. He controlled all the legitimate businesses of Longwei Group and could mobilize billions of funds. Naturally, he was arrogant. In Linzhou, he was a first-tier young master. He was much more famous than Zhou Zhenghao and had a good relationship with the leaders of the city. Why would he care about a nobody like Jiang Tian? He shook hands with Jiang Tian just to give face to Zhou Zhenghao. Why would he care about Jiang Tian? My father has some connections with the military government in Myanmar. These guards were sent by the military government. Walking into the courtyard, young Master Long pointed at a dozen armed soldiers patrolling back and forth and said proudly, a dozen machine guns. If that guy dares to come, I will make sure he never comes back. Tisk tsk, I didn't know that Lord Long V was so popular here. Zhou Zhenghao exclaimed. Jiang Tian nodded slightly, but in his mind, he sneered. He had been chased away by his enemy, so why would he still want to show off? Moreover, his opponent was a martial arts master. Not to mention that a transcendent state martial artist could withstand small-caliber firearms. Even if his opponent was only an internal force user, with his powerful body movement, these guns were no more than firewood sticks. However, Jiang Tian knew that he should not talk too much, so he didn't point it out. That's nothing. My father has invited a martial arts master this time. He can kill the enemy here. Long Gatian said proudly. Who is it, young Master Long? Zhou Zhenghao nodded and asked curiously. You will know when the time comes. Long Gai Tian said with a smile. Let me show you the Dharma treasures and Dharma artifacts first. The manor was spacious and had a pleasant environment. There were 3 villas in the front and back of the manor. The rockery was arranged in a picturesque manner. There were pavilions, terraces, and winding corridors. It looked like an ancient emperor's palace. Stepping into a heavily guarded exhibition hall, Long Gatian pointed at the exhibits that filled the entire exhibition hall and said with a smile, These are the treasures that my father has been searching for recently. It is rare to see them in the outside world. This is a treasured sword forged by a master swordsmith, Zhengzongzi. It can cut through iron like mud and cut through hair with a single blow. It took the death of 3 master swordsmiths to make it. This is a jade pendant from the Han dynasty. It is engraved with talismans. It can nourish the blood and is very beneficial to the body. This is a soft armor made of golden silk. It is much stronger than a bulletproof vest. This is. Long Gatian introduced the treasures along the way with a complacent look on his face. He was very familiar with the origins of the inheritance, and each treasure had a mysterious origin. Since Mr. Jiang is here, you can choose one of these Dharma artifacts as your reward. Alas! However, Jiang Tian lacked interest, and he shook his head with a disappointed expression. These treasures were not Dharma artifacts at all. They were far from the bracelet that he gave to Zhao Xueqing. Mr. Jiang, are you still not satisfied with these Dharma artifacts? Long Gai Tian turned to look at Jiang Tian in surprise. As far as he was concerned, Jiang Tian ought to be extremely shocked upon seeing these treasures, but he never imagined that Jiang Tian would have an expression of disappointment. These are not Dharma artifacts. They are just ordinary antiques. Jiang Tian shook his head with a wry smile. It seemed that he should not have had any hope in the first place. The spiritual qi on earth had been exhausted, and the resources for cultivation were extremely scarce. How could there be so many Dharma artifacts? Long Gatian was a little unhappy in his heart. These treasures were collected by my father from all over Huaxia with great effort, but this unknown man rejected them all. However, Long Gai Tian was also a thoughtful person. How could he show his dissatisfaction with Jiang Tian? He squeezed out a smile and said, Mr. Jiang, there is another treasure at the bottom of the box. Please come this way. He came to a safe and entered the password to open it. He took out an exquisite brocade box and put it on the table. This is a piece of Buddha's bone. It is said that it was left by the senior monk Qingguan of the Pure Land School in Huaxia after he passed away. It is very magical. Long Gai Tian's face was solemn. He carefully opened the sandalwood box. So magical. The moment the box was opened, Sister Dong Dong was shocked. Her beautiful eyes became blurred. She only felt that the yellow jade-like Buddha's bone was blooming with a gentle golden light. She seemed to hear holy Sanskrit chanting in her ears. In his mind, he felt as if he had been enlightened. He felt dizzy and couldn't even stand properly. He even had the urge to prostrate himself in worship. Yes, with the blessing of Buddhism, sometimes I can even see the Buddha's light and Buddha's statue appear, Long Gai Tian's eyes also became obsessed. It was not easy for him to pull his eyes away from the Buddha's bone. He looked at Jiang Tian proudly and said, "Brother Jiang, what do you think of this Buddha's bone? It's not bad, but it's still far from being a real Dharma artifact." Jiang Tian smiled faintly and shook his head. Hearing this, Long Gai Tian was so angry that he almost jumped out. He scolded angrily, "Brother Jiang, you are too ignorant. In Buddhism, the Buddha's bone is obtained by the senior monks through the cultivation of precepts, concentration, wisdom, and their own wishes. It contains their life's cultivation. It cannot be melted by high temperature or damaged by high pressure. It can be increased or decreased at will. It is really incredible." He spat and said, "If you worship it, you can use it to make up for any defects of the 5 elements congenital life chi. You can obtain blessings for your body, life, fortune, wisdom, and wealth. It can also avoid all disasters. This Buddha's bone is very rare and precious. It is a sacred object. Don't spout nonsense." Hee, in my opinion, the so-called Buddha's bone is actually a stone left by the old monks. I don't know if this is their kidney stone or urine stone. Jiang Tian smiled disdainfully and said, "As for what you think is magical, it is just some of the spiritual power of the senior monks left in it. It can make you feel peaceful, but if you want to use it to avoid disasters and obtain blessings, it is like looking for fish from a tree." The so-called spiritual power was also the power of thought. The senior monks in ancient times had tens of thousands of followers. These followers were very pious. They worshipped the senior monks every day and prayed to Buddha. They formed a huge amount of wish power, which was the power of faith and the power of good deeds. These wishes were absorbed by the senior monks and formed their own vast and deep power of thought, which was the spiritual power. What stone? You are talking nonsense. Long Gai Tian pointed at Jiang Tian in shock and anger. He almost jumped up. "Now, look at it. Is there anything magical about it?" Jiang Tian covered the Buddha's bone with his big hand and touched it gently. Chapter 35. In an instant, Jiang Tian activated the primal chaos creation incantation and absorbed all of the mental energy in it, leaving not a single drop behind. What's going on? Long Gatian, Zhou Zhenghao, and Sister Dong Dong were shocked when they saw the Buddha bone relic. The Buddha light was no longer there, and the faint Buddhist chanting had completely disappeared. The Buddhist bone relic immediately lost its strange attraction and turned into a grayish-white ordinary bone. It even seemed to show signs of decay. "I've erased the remaining mind power," Jiang Tian said lightly. "Without the interference of the mind power, it's just an ordinary bone." "Master Kong, I didn't expect you to be so powerful." Zhou Zhenghao and Sister Dong Dong were in disbelief as they exclaimed in admiration. "Mr. Jiang, no, Master Kong, I didn't know that you're also a spell master. I'm sorry for not recognizing you. Please forgive me." Long Gatian sucked in a breath of cold air. He cupped his fists and bowed deeply. His face was full of fear and reverence. This young man had easily erased the mind power of the eminent monk. Didn't that mean that his Dharma power was even more powerful than the eminent monks of ancient times? The ignorant are not guilty. Please don't take it to heart, Master Long. Jiang Tian shook his head gently, but he sighed in his heart. He had heard that there were Dharma artifacts here and had hoped to find 1 or 2 Dharma artifacts. However, they were all ordinary antiques. Even the Buddha bone relic could not be considered a Dharma artifact. The mind power contained in it was very limited. It could not even activate his divine sense as a cultivator. "Mr. Long, I'm a little tired. Please arrange a place for me to stay first." Jiang Tian walked out of the door. Okay. I'll send you there now," Long Gatian said happily. However, the moment he reached the door, Jiang Tian stopped and said in surprise, "What's this?" "Oh, Master Kong, these are some ancient coins. However, no one knows the inscriptions on them, so they can't be dated. Long Gaitian introduced. Following Jiang Tian's gaze, Long Gaitian's eyes landed on a pile of rusty money. He bowed and said. There were 99 of these round ancient coins with square holes. They were covered in a thick layer of rust and did not look very good. Moreover, the inscriptions were very strange. Many experts could not determine the year when they were issued. Therefore, they only spent a few 100,000 yuan to buy them. How is this an ancient coin? It's a Dharma artifact called the Evil Warding Coin. It specializes in slaying evil spirits and malicious spirits. This trip was not in vain. Jiang Tian opened his heaven's eye to take a closer look. A gratified smile appeared on his face as he said calmly, I want these ancient coins. All right, I'll wrap it up for you. Long Gaitian did not dare to have the slightest neglect or hesitation. He immediately packed all the coins and handed them to Jiang Tian. After that, Jiang Tian stayed in one of the guest rooms in the mansion. However, 3 days had passed. Other than Zhou Zhenghao and Sister Dong Dong delivering meals a few times, Dragon Fifth did not come to see him. It seemed that Dragon Fifth did not take him seriously either. However, Jiang Tian had always been a peaceful person, so he did not care. Without anyone to disturb him, he could cultivate wholeheartedly. His qi refining stage 2 cultivation was even more stable now. On the night of the 4th day, Zhou Zhenghao and Sister Dong Dong hurried in. Mr. Jiang, the enemy is coming tonight. All right. Jiang Tian stood up happily. He was not interested in helping Dragon Fifth. However, after returning, he had only seen one martial artist, Conk, who was only an iron body cultivator. Jiang Tian was looking forward to meeting this strong enemy. Soon, Jiang Tian, accompanied by Zhou Zhenghao, arrived at an antique pavilion at the back of the courtyard. Mr. Jiang, little Zhou, you're here. Take a seat. A middle-aged man wearing a tang suit was sitting on a wooden armchair. His butt didn't move as he waved at Jiang Tian. Long Gaitian stood behind him and nodded at Jiang Tian in a friendly manner. Fifth Lord. Zhou Zhenghao and Sister Dong Dong bowed deeply when they saw the middle-aged man with a respectful expression. Jiang Tian nodded slightly and sat down in the corner. There was a table of food and wine next to him. However, Dragon Fifth was not in a hurry to invite Jiang Tian to take a seat. He smiled and said, there will be a martial Dao master coming later. Let's wait for a while. No problem. Jiang Tian nodded. Mr. Jiang, may I know which sect you are from? Who is your master? Dragon Fifth asked. Oh, I'm self-taught. I don't have a master. Jiang Tian picked up his tea and smiled faintly. Oh, I see. Dragon Fifth was a little disappointed. He frowned and glared at Zhou Zhenghao. Other martial artists had their own masters and sects and had received guidance from experts. What self-taught genius? Wasn't that just an unorthodox path? This little Zhou was really playing house. Why did he bring any Tom, Dick, and Harry over? Wasn't that just adding to the mess? Grandmaster Jiang is an expert. Those few subordinates of mine are not his match at all. Zhou Zhenghao hurriedly explained. Oh, that's really a hero from a young age. A master. Dragon Fifth chuckled. He was not interested. Dragon Fifth knew the trump cards of little Zhou's men, Ahu and Dong Yin. They were just some martial arts experts of the mortal world. They were not worthy of being shown in public. What could Jiang Tian prove by defeating them? Fifth Lord, I wonder what the background of that enemy of yours is? Jiang Tian asked indifferently. Master Li is here. Dragon Fifth was about to speak. Suddenly, Long Gaitian looked at his phone and bent down to report to Dragon Fifth. He's here. Dragon Fifth instantly ignored Jiang Tian. As if a spring was pressed on his butt, he bounced up from the chair and said excitedly, Master Li is here. Hurry up and welcome him. Hurry up and welcome him. Zhou Zhenghao did not dare to delay. He quickly accompanied Dragon Fifth out of the door with Long Gadian. Master Li, you must be tired. Please forgive me for not coming out to meet you. Master Li. Master Li, we are relieved that you are here. Brother Dragon Fifth, brothers, you are too polite. After a round of greetings, a few people surrounded an old man in his 50s. They walked in like stars surrounding the moon. The old man was wearing a black cotton robe and a pair of old cloth shoes. His hair was like silver silk. A pair of tiger's eyes were bursting with light. He was not angry, but he was majestic. His calloused right hand was playing with a pair of iron balls. His breath was long and his steps were steady. He was full of energy. At first glance, one could tell that he had been practicing martial arts all year round. His physical fitness was very strong. Behind the old man were more than 10 disciples. All of them had strong physical fitness and a strong aura. The old man was very ostentatious with such a large entourage. Seeing this, a cold smile appeared on the corner of Jiang Tian's mouth. He already had some understanding in his heart. It seemed that in Dragon Fifth's eyes, this Master Li was the trump card that they could rely on. He was just a spare tire. However, Jiang Tian's state of mind was calm. He had long reached the point where he would not be surprised by favors or insults. Master Kong, this is Master Li Jinwei of Foshan Jinwei Martial Arts School. In Lingnan, he is as famous as Elder Tang of Lin Zhou. Zhou Zhenghao excitedly introduced, Master Li, this is Master Kong of Lin Zhou. He is very strong. Jiang Tian saw that this person's aura was strong. He should have reached the level of internal force, which was higher than Elder Tang. He knew that spiritual qi was scarce on earth. It was not easy to cultivate martial arts. To reach this level of cultivation, it must have taken a lot of hard work. Therefore, he had some respect for this old man. He stood up and clasped his fist. Junior Jiang Tian greets Master Li. How dare you call yourself a master when you are so young and your lower body is unstable? Unexpectedly, Li Jinwei looked at Jiang Tian condescendingly and said in disdain, some people only learned a little bit of martial arts and came out to swindle people. They are not afraid that they won't be alive to spend the money they earn. Jiang Tian was slightly stunned. He smiled bitterly and did not say anything. He sat down again. In terms of cultivation, Li Jinwei could not even compare to Jiang Tian's finger. If you don't want to give face, then forget it. Master Li, please take a seat. Dragon Fifth was not in the mood to comfort Jiang Tian. His face was full of joy as he bowed and made a gesture of invitation. Tang Guizhu is nothing. He is only in the later stage of iron body. He has not even cultivated internal force. How can he compare to me? He just has a good relationship with the military and gained some fame. Li Jinwei smiled disdainfully and glared at Zhou Zhenghao. He then sat down on the dragon chair. Please forgive me, Master Li. Zhou Zhenghao's face tightened, and he hurriedly bowed and apologized. Get up. Li Jinwei did not even look at him as he twirled the iron balls in his hand and said proudly, Dragon Fifth, don't worry. With me here today, even if Fu Biao comes, it's only a dead end. Master Li, Fu Biao is very powerful now. I heard that he has a master in the northeast and has already cultivated internal force. He is known as a martial Dao master. Dragon Fifth said nervously. Is a martial Dao master very powerful? Long Gadian frowned and asked. He did not know much about martial artists. A martial Dao master has already surpassed Iron Body. He is invulnerable and his fists have the strength of 1,000 pounds. He can kill a bear or fight a tiger. He has also formed internal force and can hurt people through objects. Li Jinwei said leisurely. Hiss. That's terrifying. Everyone sucked in a breath of cold air at the same time. Dragon Fifth's face was even paler, and he was horrified. Sigh, that is dangerous. I will ask the gunmen to be on full alert. Long Gatian said fearfully. Humph, I don't need gunmen. They are just decorations. Tonight, I will make sure that Fu Biao does not leave this place alive. Li Junwei snorted disdainfully and said proudly, he is only at the initial level of internal force. I have already reached the phenomenal level of internal force. In my eyes, he is just an ant. What? Master Li, you have already reached the phenomenal level of internal force? Dragon Fifth was shocked. What? You still don't believe me? Li Junwei picked up a chopstick and threw it. With a swoosh, a sharp sound pierced through the air. The next moment. Thud. Thud. Half of the chopstick had already penetrated the wall. It was as if the granite wall was made of tofu. That's amazing. Master Li is really a god. Even a flower or a leaf can hurt people. Boom. The huge attic was suddenly in an uproar. Everyone was stunned and amazed. Even Dragon Fifth was excited. He was instantly filled with confidence and smiled flatteringly. Master Li, I'm really relieved now. Even if Fu Biao has acknowledged an immortal as his master, he can only nurse a grievance when he sees Master Li. Humph, now you know what a real martial Dao master is. How dare you call yourself a martial Dao master at such a young age? Are you kidding me? Did you hear that? That whatever Grandmaster Jiang, my master is here. There's nothing for you to do here. You can go now. Suddenly, Li Junwei's disciples pointed at Jiang Tian, their faces full of disdain as they sneered and ridiculed him. Chapter 36. They're just a few ants. Let's not waste our time on them. Jiang Tian only smiled indifferently when facing this, and he turned a deaf ear to it and remained composed as if he was on a fishing platform. Forget it. Forget it. Just let Brother Jiang sit here. When Master Li makes his move, he can broaden his horizons and broaden his horizons. Dragon the Fifth was in a good mood. He acted as a peacemaker, but it was obvious that he did not take Jiang Tian seriously at all. In the attic, the atmosphere became lively. Everyone crowded around Li Junwei, talking and laughing loudly, flattering him like a tide. Suddenly, Li Junwei's face turned serious. He said in a deep voice, Fu Biao is here. Humph, so what? There are already a dozen gunmen downstairs. I'm afraid he won't even have a chance to go upstairs. Dragon the Fifth smiled proudly and snorted. Bang! 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 A series of gunshots came from downstairs. A minute later, everything was quiet again. He should be dead by now, right? Dragon the Fifth said proudly. Long Gatian took out his walkie-talkie and said, What's the situation? However, there was no reply from the walkie-talkie. It was deadly silent. No way. Everyone looked at each other in dismay. Their expressions changed as they felt their hair stand on end. Could it be that Fu Biao killed those gunmen? How was that possible? There were a dozen gunmen armed with pistols and submachine guns. Although internal force masters can't take bullets head-on, they can still dodge them if they are strong enough. But don't be afraid of him. I'm here. He can't do anything to you today. Only Li Junwei sipped his tea and sighed softly. He was calm in the face of the situation and sat there quietly with the demeanor of a master. Dong! 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 Muffled footsteps came from the stairs. The wooden floor was trembling. The heavy footsteps seemed to be stepping on everyone's hearts, making them beat faster. There was dead silence in the hall. It was so quiet that even the sound of a pin dropping could be heard. Everyone could only hear their own heavy breathing. The atmosphere was suffocating. Everyone's emotions were complicated. Nervousness, fear, panic, excitement, and so on. The door was pushed open. A one-eyed middle-aged man wearing a black cloth shirt and a slanted eye patch slowly walked in. There were a few frostbite scars on his face. They were like wriggling earthworms, making him look even more terrifying. This person just stood there steadily, but a powerful aura spread out in all directions, making it difficult for people to breathe. The single eye emitted rays of cold light that enveloped everyone, causing everyone to feel a chill in their hearts. Fu Biao. Dragon Fifth exclaimed in a trembling voice. Hee, fifth brother, long time no see. Fu Biao chuckled as he pulled over a chair and sat down. After all, Dragon Fifth was a big shot. He quickly calmed down and forced a smile. Fu Biao, I didn't expect that you would still be able to find me while I was living in seclusion in Myanmar. What brotherly love. That's right. Thanks to fifth brother, I lost one of my eyes back then. All these years, I've always remembered fifth brother's great kindness in my heart. I don't dare to forget it for even a moment. Fu Biao pulled off the eye patch, revealing a black eye socket. It was extremely terrifying. He grinned and said coldly. I escaped to the northeast and trained hard for 10 years just for today. Fu Biao, you've learned a lot, and now I'm in need of people. Why don't we shake hands and work together? Dragon Fifth smiled. You've seen it too. I'm not the same as before. I have a strong army and tens of billions of assets. If you follow me, I promise you that no one will dare to mess with you. Sure, you dig out one of your eyes, and I'll be the boss of the Dragon Might Club. Fu Biao sneered. Fu Biao, when it's possible to make mistakes, let them go. Li Junwei slammed the table and said coldly. I'm here today. You won't be able to hurt Dragon Fifth. Ha, isn't this Master Li from Junwei Martial Arts Club? Fu Biao said disdainfully. With your mediocre martial arts, you still have the nerve to come out and pretend to be a big shot. I'll kill you like a chicken. You're too arrogant. Today I'll let you see the true strength of a martial Dao master. Li Junwei was also a proud person. How could he withstand such humiliation? His body expanded, and he jumped out like a tiger coming down the mountain. He heavily punched towards Fu Biao's chest. The air exploded, and his internal strength tore through the void. His fist was like a cannonball, and a gust of wind whistled. Wherever he stepped, the solid wood floor cracked inch by inch. Wood chips flew everywhere, and the huge attic shook. Master Li's strength is really terrifying. Dragon Fifth screamed in his heart. Only now did he know that he was a frog at the bottom of a well. The strength of a martial artist was far beyond his imagination. Crushing him was as simple as crushing an ant. He thought that after this, he must reward Li Junwei heavily and treat him as a guest of honor. He must build a relationship with him and make him his backer. Master used the tiger form fist. Fu Biao is dead. Many disciples of Junwei Martial Arts Club were excited and full of confidence. It was as if Fu Biao would die on the spot in the next moment. Trash. Fu Biao didn't even move his butt. He punched out like a dragon and met with Li Junwei's fist. He swung his long sleeves in the air, and the sound of firecrackers was heard. Clang! The two fists suddenly collided in the air, and the sound of metal colliding with stone was heard. With a swoosh, Li Junwei flew out like a rag doll, heavily crashing into the wall, making a muffled thunder-like sound. The wall cracked and peeled off. Li Junwei hung on the wall for 3 seconds, and then slowly slid down like a piece of paper. Blood spurted out of his mouth, and his pupils dilated. His right arm was bent into a terrible arc, blood gushed out, and the white bone stubble was exposed. The whole place was dead silent. Everyone was dumbfounded. Elder sister Dong Dong screamed in horror. Fu Biao's strength was many times stronger than Zhou Zhenghao's men. It seemed that he was going to lose his life today. Internal strength can hit people like a painting. Martial arts are not afraid of guns. Fu Biao stood up proudly and glanced around. He sneered, Who else? You can't do it. Li Junwei exclaimed when he saw several disciples rubbing their palms. But a disciple had already rushed out and punched out. He said angrily, "You hurt my master. I'll kill you and avenge my shame." This disciple was Li Junwei's eldest disciple, Xiang Long. He was the strongest among the disciples and had already reached the peak of iron body. "Your master is not as good as me. Aren't you going to die? Fine, I'll fulfill your wish." Fu Biao's eyes flashed with a trace of coldness. He didn't move at all, and lightly punched out. Bang! This palm strike was incomparably swift, as fast as lightning, solidly slapping onto Xiang Long's head. Xiang Long's huge body, which weighed more than 180 pounds, flew out and smashed the solid wood table into pieces. His head was bleeding, and he fell to the ground miserably. His limbs twitched violently, and his eyes rolled up. He died. Eldest brother, is dead. Master, what should we do? All the disciples of Junwei Martial Arts School were scared and exclaimed. Then, they stepped back step by step and leaned against the wall. They kept quiet and didn't even dare to breathe loudly. Fu Biao, I didn't expect you to have reached the peak of internal force. This old man is convinced. Li Junwei's face was full of fear. He then looked at Dragon Fifth with a wry smile and sighed. Brother Dragon Fifth, I'm not as good as you. I'm afraid I can't protect you today. He kept coughing up blood. Dragon Fifth, what about the debt from 10 years ago? Do I gouge out your eyes, or do you want to commit suicide to atone for your sins? Fu Biao was full of killing intent. He approached Dragon Fifth step by step. His eyes were full of mockery as if he was a cat playing with a mouse. Dragon Fifth's face was ashen. His legs trembled and he begged in a trembling voice. Brother Fu, I hurt you because we were fighting for territory. There's no deep hatred between us. I'm willing to give you half of my family's property as long as you spare my life. Fu Biao, Lord Dragon Fifth has given you a good deal. Stop. Zhou Zhenghao stretched out his arms in front of Dragon Fifth and forced a stiff smile. However, Fu Biao threw him out of the attic and he screamed. You have no idea how powerful a martial artist can be. If I want money, I can get billions of dollars easily. Fu Biao disdainfully patted Dragon Fifth's cheek. It was not a heavy slap, but it was full of humiliation. His master was a tycoon in northeast China. He himself had reached the peak of internal force and was highly regarded by his master. He controlled several border smuggling routes and was even wealthier than Dragon Fifth. Fu Biao, I am Tang Wanyan's brother. If you kill me, do you think he will let you go? Dragon Fifth threatened Fu Biao with his trump card. Ha, I've been living in Siberia for many years, controlling the forces in the northeast. If I kill you, I'll immediately escape from Myanmar. What can the Tang family do to me? Brother Biao, what do you want? Dragon Fifth had lost his trump card. He was trembling like a lamb waiting to be slaughtered. Cold sweat had already soaked his body. Back then, you raped my wife and daughter, gouged out my eyes, and broke my legs. Today, I will settle the score with you. Fu Biao grinned and said coldly, I will gouge your eyes out, break your legs, and then kill you. Then, your wife and daughter will not be able to escape. Dragon Fifth felt as if he had fallen into an ice cave. He could bear to die, but his wife and daughter, in a moment of desperation, Dragon Fifth knelt down with a plop. His whole body trembled, and tears flowed down his face as he said, Brother Biao, you can kill me, but my wife and daughter are innocent. Please let them go. I will repay your kindness in my next life. Although Dragon Fifth was cruel and merciless, he was still concerned about his wife and daughter when he was about to die. Everyone was shocked. Dragon Fifth, the king of Lin Zhou City, was forced to kneel down and beg for mercy by Fu Biao, the one-eyed martial arts master. Everyone's faces were also filled with grief, as if they were about to die. Fu Biao was too strong. Who would be able to resist him? Today was the day that Dragon Fifth, the tycoon who had dominated Lin Zhou City for 20 years, would meet his end. Just when everyone was in despair. A cold voice came, Fu Biao, you want to kill him, but did you ask for my permission? Who are you? Fu Biao suddenly turned his head. He saw an ordinary-looking young man playing with a teacup in the corner with his eyes downcast. It doesn't matter who I am. Jiang Tian took a sip of tea, as if he wanted to let the tea come into full contact with his taste buds and thoroughly taste the mellow taste. It stayed in his mouth for a moment before he swallowed the tea and said lightly, I took some of Dragon Fifth's money as a reward. Naturally, I have to keep him safe. Jiang Tian, what are you doing? Li Jinwei exclaimed with anger. This young man is really reckless. I am not his opponent. You are courting death if you go up, is this kid crazy? Everyone in the Jinwei martial arts school was also in disbelief. Dragon Fifth also had a look of astonishment, but he did not stop them. Even if Jiang Tian was not his opponent, it would be good if he could hold on for a minute and let him live. What am I doing? Of course, I am going to slap this ant to death. Jiang Tian smiled and stood up. You're tuning into the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.